Morning. All right. There you go. Let it never in. How's it going, everyone? Out of curiosity, because you all go to the waiting room and I don't at all. Do you all see other people in the waiting room, or do you know people are waiting, or you just sit there and all you get told is, I'll be letting you in? Because I know that you're all sitting there in the waiting room until I start admitting, but I don't know the experience of being in there,
No, it just says you're waiting to be admitted. So
Okay.
you don't see any other
So you
people.
don't know if there's one person or 100 people. You're just sitting there being like,
Right.
okay, open the door up, please. All right. All right. Good to know. It's interesting how many classes I've taught on Zoom, and I have not actually taken one. I've lots of seminars, lots of ridiculous amounts of meetings, but there's no waiting rooms in those. So I've not had to have the experience of being admitted. So just wanted to see how it felt. Or yeah, I've actually seen that there's a possibility of putting a sign of our own in it, I guess, or something, saying something. Oh, might be interesting too.
It's funny. This is the first time I clicked on your regular link, and this is the first time I had to enter a password.
Me too.
Okay, so I tried to fix something and I must have messed it up.
It's okay. I mean, it's no big deal to enter it. You send it to us. So
Yeah,
it
some
was
people might not
surprising.
know. Okay, no, but that's interesting. You know how last week 2 people said they couldn't come in because the password was wrong?
Yeah.
And Norma figured out when I said that this macOS level 2 class, I scheduled it in spring when we had to emergency start teaching from one day to the next. And then for each class, I keep using that same link. So this one was set up at a time when we had to type our own password. So I had typed a password called macOS level 2 or something like that. And that way, when people were writing the 15007, whatever, it wasn't working. And so I went in and had changed it. I said, okay, I don't forget the Mac 2. Let's go back to the 1507. But from what you're saying, that means that now I have made it that the link doesn't work without entering the password. So I don't know I need to fix that. I don't want to change the link for everyone, but I might need to. I don't want people.
It's not a big deal that I mean, it's in your email sitting right there. And so it's not difficult to do, certainly.
Yeah, but if people are accustomed to not bringing a password, that can be confusing. Try to fix one thing and end up messing another one, right? Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Now I need to go and see how I can fix that. Can y'all please sign into the chat? And another thing that happened yesterday for the first time ever is that one of my classes did not record. And it's one of my 5-hour classes, and that's a lot of not recording happening for a class that needs to be recorded and put online. Part of the mandate for synchronous Zoom teaching is that these classes will be available online. And yeah, so weird things happening as of yesterday. Anyway, I keep putting people in, so welcome. I also have had consistently amazing classes, and one class consistently is a disaster each time. Technically, not the students, it's not. But there's been so many issues with one of my classes at a technical level where half the time I'm on tech support. Yeah, you never know. I'm thinking that everything's working well. I'm teaching so many different classes, and then there's all the technical problems have to happen in the same one, right? So yeah, you never know. Things change, things happen. So welcome back. How's everyone feeling? Have you been doing some fun stuff on your computer? Anything new you've been doing or trying out that you want to share while I let the last few people in?
But Diana, I was wondering if there's a way, now in the iCloud, I have my photos,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not as important to me as my files. Now, I know that's different for other people, but is there a way I can get them off of my iCloud and onto my hard disk so that I can put the rest of my files in the iCloud and not get bounced for that extra $1 a month or something? It's not the $12 a year, it's the principle of the whole thing.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, two questions to that. Yes, there is a way to disconnect from the iCloud for photos and then to connect the iCloud for your stuff, of course. But my question is, how much weight, like how much hard drive space do your files that are so important to you occupy? Because usually it's the videos and photos that take up all the space that you need to pay for more, but rarely do any people have enough files that are not music or photos or videos that take that much space. So I don't see why putting your files on the cloud would mean that you would have to pay more. Is the point I'm making? And yes, can you do it? Yes, you can. But
well, when I plug it in, then immediately it goes and tells me, okay, you got to buy more space. So then I have to take the files off in order to not pay more for more space.
okay, so do you have a lot of? You have to look at do you have a lot of photos on your computer outside of photos, like a lot of files in your documents folder that are photos or movies that could be really huge files?
No,
I
no,
do. You don't.
no.
Well, that seems a little bit. You might be on some like line where it's about to cross over. Yeah. So you know what? Go ahead and give me chance to check your files during break. Okay, when I call for break, can you say, Al, remember you said you would look at my files, right? And remind me that when I say break, because I'm going to forget otherwise. And then share your screen and let me give it a check on your files if really there's something there that usually you'd have to have, I mean, so many Word documents to make any difference to compare to the heaviness of just even one photo. But otherwise, yeah, if so, then
yes, my whole documents folder is what it effectively is.
Okay, so give me a chance to check your stuff before.
Okay.
Other than that, yes, I have in the handouts a handout explaining how to take your documents off the cloud and into your computer. But what he's talking about is the opposite. He wants to put the documents on the computer and take off the photos. So let me just explain, because this question might be something for better or for worse that other people might have. And since today we are going to keep talking about the cloud, it's a very appropriate question to keep bringing up the subject, which is that when you don't have the cloud checkboxes connected all the way around, which is what you would have to do. You would have to say, don't use a Creative Photo Cloud. Then you are the one who has to update. Till you take any photos, you have to then plug in and download the, So guys, the password 150072 did work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a person emailing me saying that the password isn't working. Okay, let me catch up for a second, since from what you say, it was something I did that changed it. Let me go and give a hand to this person. I don't have my email handy set up, do I? Yes, I do. So give me a sec. Come on. Let me just tell her, yes, it's working. Okay. All right. So let me, there we go. I hope she comes in. Okay. I'll keep it on an eye on it. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so I was saying for those of you who joined us at, you know, a bit later, that in trying to fix the password that wasn't working last week, it seems that now by putting in the correct one, the one that you've used all the time, but inputting it in by hand, now everyone has to type it in. So I'm going to try to fix that for next week. But other than that, if I can't fix that, maybe we're stuck with either that or I change the whole link. It seems like we're stuck with having to type in the password. Anyway, back to the question in hand is that if you disconnect your iCloud, if you already have it backing up online, then it will be up to you to every time you take pictures or photos or movies or whatever to update yourself from your phone to your computer. Other than that, if your phone dies, your photos disappear. There's no other place they'll be. So as long as you're aware of that, and that's a lot of, you know, continuous work, unless you don't take many photos or use your computer a lot, then you might want to do that and just have more space. We'll see it during break, but basically your choice is to have everything up online, photos and desktop and documents, or to have only desktop and documents, or to have only photos. So your choice of which one you use, or none, by the way, or none. Just have your computer have everything. So there's ways to do it all. But the moment you disconnect by turning off that little checkbox saying, I don't want photos, what happens is just as with clouds, what happens is that for the most part, the default space where everything lands up is in the cloud. And then you have to figure out how to make everything go back into your computer if that was your intent, okay? So that's the part that's kind of iffy. All right. Now over here on my other computer as we're speaking, I created a new account that I'm trying to set up, and I'll tell you why in a second. But today we're going to be talking more about, give me 1 second, let me type in a password. Today we're going to be talking more about the iCloud in a way, but we're also going to be talking about how to use other accounts that you might have and integrate them into your Mac system. So for example, I know you all have a Gmail account at the very least because your Pipeline email address is a Gmail account. So how to integrate reading your Pipeline email address in your Mac mail. The same way as you might have your own personal Gmail account, or you might have an AOL, or, you know, there's so many different Yahoo or a Cox account, and how to be able to integrate them all and read them all from your Mac without having to go to, you know, Cox.us, Gmail, this and that, and to begin to trace and track your emails everywhere. Like to go to read your Pipeline account, you have to go into sbc.edu, sign into Pipeline, and that you get to your mail. And instead of having to do all of that, you can read everything from the mail account itself. So we're going to be talking about the mail account itself, but also we're going to be talking about the mail account and other kinds of accounts that that involve more than just mail, like contacts and calendars and things like that. All of that is integrated, and there's a system that Apple uses, a system that Google uses, a system that maybe other accounts use, and how to make it easy for you from your Mac to access all of that material. Okay. So that we're going to still have conversations about the cloud. I'm setting this. Are you asking for my attention? I'm not hearing you. Can you turn your sound on? I have no, I'm not hearing you. Okay. So you need to turn on your sound.
I'm-
How's that? You got it now?
Okay, Pat, yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to do with my iPad and the computer, and as you see, I'm in the meeting twice now. I guess I forgot how to deal
No.
with the iPad.
That is correct. If you are going to be accessing this course through an iPad and the computer so that you can use one so that you can use one and to do the stuff and one to learn, so to say, from what I'm showing, then you do need to be in here twice. What you can do is on the one that you're looking at me, keep that video on, but on the one that you're not looking at me, go ahead and turn the video button off so that it becomes blank, and then I see you only once. But other than that, that's what you're doing is perfectly fine. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
you.
Right. And then Barbara's been asking some questions on the chat. So when people have questions like that, if you know the answers, you're all welcome to intervene and actively use the chat to ask and reply things. Other than that, I went to see, my point was ask me questions or tell me stuff over the week. And if you have anything else to tell me, otherwise I'm going to read what's in the chat. Pages sliders read on iPad, but not listed on iMac in the system preference, although I see it on a Launchpad. So what she's talking about is that in your computer and your iPad, I told you that you had to have the same things on or checked on. So in the iPad or the phone, it's a green slider, and on the computer, it's a check mark. But she's not seeing the possibility of checking the Pages app. And so that's inside of the iCloud Drive. When you go to the options of the iCloud Drive, in there you will have the chance to check on Pages. So when we get into the system preferences, remind me and I'll show you that setting. Okay, and then iPhone and iPad have place to check the iCloud backup. What is equivalent on the iMac? So that is part of the conversation that we're going to be having now, because when you do nothing, so to say, different, okay, sorry, I'm having a weird message here on this side. When you do nothing different to your phones or to your iPads, just as they came from the factory, and you set them up and you don't make other choices, they have a setting that makes them automatically back up when the phone and iPad, I'm sorry, are turned off and plugged in. So those are the two requirements. So when you're plugging it into charge at night, is someone making blast noises? If you're not speaking and you're doing stuff, please turn your sounds off. When you turn off your phone for the night, plug it in your bedroom, or if you're better about not having screens in your room, and you plug it in your living room, and it's turned off. So they have to be power, and it has to be off, and the screen has to be locked. Then during that time, it performs an automatic backup. A backup is not the same as all this cloud sync that I'm saying, where information goes up and down and, sources across all things. A backup is an actual backup where stuff that's on your phone that has to do with Apple, not everything. If you're playing a game, right, that kind of data doesn't get backed up if it's not an Apple game, which Apple doesn't have games. I think it always has chess. That's the only game that Apple comes with. Then those backups, even if you do not have the iCloud connected, even if you don't have Photos connected or any of that kind of stuff, this backup happens anyway. And that's the original 5 gigs that you were given for free. That's really what uses up most of those 5 gigs. It's your computer, your iPad and your iPhone backing up automatically to the cloud. A backup of the data to let that phone run with within its own Apple products. So, for example, the stuff you have in your apps that are Apple apps, contacts, and in my brain, let me contact. I'm opening here the phone. Mail, if it's the Apple iCloud mail, contacts, phone calls you've made, reminders, calendar, notes. I'm just looking at my phone and all the different little apps that come out that just come, like maps, all the things that come with the phone beyond anything else you've downloaded. The data that goes into those apps gets backed up, and I call it at night because that's usually when you plug in your phone and leave it for many hours, right? So if you've made no other changes, that's happening every night. Your computer doesn't do that automatically. Your computer doesn't do that little backup. It's for the iOS system software, which is the software that operates on an iPad or on a phone. Okay, so you don't have an equivalent thing for the phone. Okay, for the computer. For the computer, if you want to back up, you have to set up your time machine if you want that kind of equivalency. You do have, on the other hand, something that is hard to distinguish from a backup, but it isn't, which is the fact that if you turn on your iCloud and your iPhotos library and all that, all the information that's in those files does go to the cloud and sits there and then disperses through your other handheld devices. But that's not the same as a backup, and that's why it's a bit confusing. Because and let me distinguish this just really quickly. I know that it'll take more to really distinguish them, but say that you are admitting some more people. I'm not seeing Audrey still. She said okay, but she's not in yet. If you right now open up your file that's got your novel and write 2 more chapters, that if your desktop and your cloud and all your files are connected to the iCloud, then those 2 more chapters are instantly up there. They're instantly in the next device if you wanted to open it from your phones for any reason. It's all there. It's all instantly there. And if for chance you delete that file, it's gone from everywhere. So that isn't a backup. That's just populating itself everywhere. It has the added benefit that if your computer dies, well, it was up there in the cloud, so you didn't lose it, right? But the difference with this once a day backup that's automatically happening on your phones and your iPads is that it only gets updated that once a day. So say you lose your phone today at 7 p.m. You've had a whole day of entering stuff into it. Well, your backup for your phone is from last night at 1 a.m. when it started doing its automatic backup. And so everything you did today from 1 a.m. to 7 p.m. is not in that backup. So if you were to restore your phone from that backup, it would restore to however it was the night before. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit different. It's not an ongoing backup. There's other differences, but that kind of gives you an idea of the difference between having something that's automatically going through versus a backup, which is one snapshot of your phone at whatever time you plugged it in, and it did its little thing, which is usually quite a while after you stop using it. So it can kind of tell you're not around. So 2 or 3 hours after you plug it in and put it to sleep. Usually if you check your backup, it says something like, 1 a.m. or something like that. It happens in the middle of the night. So that's a bit of a distinction of what that backup is. Now that has never been a thing that most people even know to turn off. You can, but if at some point you never purchased more than 5 gigs, you've got the free 5 gigs, and you begin getting your backup, your cloud is full, your cloud is full. At that point, it's referring to that backup that's happening automatically, right? Because if you have nothing else online, your computer can still say, I don't have space. And you might have a really big phone full of stuff, and you still only have 5 gigs of free space. And it's just that backup that takes up that space, okay? Even if you don't put in your photos or your desktop or your cloud. So if you end up having more devices, an iPad and a phone, and they're both big and have a lot of files in them, you're gonna run out of that free 5 gigs anyway. You're gonna have to start paying your $1 or 99 cents a month anyway. So if you're, Al, not paying anything, that's probably what you're running into as well, beyond photos or iCloud or desktop or anything like that. It's just that for that basic backup.
It's only using up about a third of the 5 gigs, even with the photos in there.
Well, I'm gonna check on your computer to
Yeah,
see what's
okay.
there, to see what is it that's trying to go up there that's so much. Someone's saying, can you eject the backup on the chat? By the way, remember to make these questions about class stuff to everyone instead of just to me, so that everyone can see your question. And there's no ejecting the backup. The backup is, I mean, if you don't want it to happen, you can turn it off and then not have a backup happen. I really do not see why you would ever do that, because if nothing else, that is your one fail safe. That if you do not have anything else turned on, none of the cloud is being used, then if your phone does crash and die, which it does, it falls from your hands or whatever, the only way to recover all of the information that's on your phone is that backup. When you buy a new phone, they'll lead the company will say, well, what's your Apple ID? Okay. And then they'll say restore phone from backup, and you go yes, and you restore the phone, and it's that backup that saves your phone, and it repopulates with all the stuff that was on your phone. So not having it turn on, and doesn't make sense. Now this is one file that's the backup. It's not like it's all your files separate, like you do see it in the iCloud when you turn on your files are there to use. It's a whole different story. Us using the iCloud to have our files populate from all our devices, that is something from another device you can open your novel, and from another device from the cloud you can open your Excel file. This backup that happens is just a one file that gets used for nothing other than it's an insurance plan. It never gets used unless your phone dies and you need to repopulate it. That's the only reason for that backup. It's not like you can use those files in any other format. You can't distinguish or separate from there a message or an email. So it's not a file that's usable in any format other than by a phone to recover itself, so to say. Does that make sense? And you don't even have to think about it. Now, if you want to see where it is, and I highly don't, this one I do have a recommendation, which is no, do not turn it off. But if you want me to show you where it is, in case you do have it turned off, because some people do somehow have it turned off automatically, then we're going to go into and I'm going to put my phone, I should connect my phone to sharing it at this point. I don't have another cable. I'll do it this way for now. If I'm going to keep showing, if you need to change to speaker view so that you see just me, that might help you see just my big phone when I do this part. But I'm going to go to the system preferences, okay? And when you go to the system preferences, let me do it first so that I can do it blindly. It's hard otherwise. Hold on. God, I haven't looked for the backup for a while. It's not under general. It'll be under the cloud. Right? Give me a sec. Yeah. Okay. Is that? Yeah. Okay. Now that's the iCloud backup. Okay, so when you go into your system settings, You go to get to the cloud. Remember, you tap your name one more time, and then that's the cloud. That information is about the cloud for you. And if you go into the actual iCloud right there choice, then if you scroll down, and I'm trying to see it backwards, if you scroll down, I think it's coming up. Does it say iCloud backup? There, yeah, iCloud backup right there. This one. Okay, that's the one that we're talking about. And if it says on, then you're fine. If it doesn't, so, and I clicked on it. Okay, so here, iCloud backup right there. If you click on iCloud backup, it'll tell you when your last backup happened. So there it gives you an idea. And mine is saying last successful backup at 9:26 a.m. I just had it, I'm reading to you. It says automatically backup data such as yada, 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 when this iPhone is connected to power and locked on Wi-Fi. Yeah, I forgot to mention it has to be on Wi-Fi. See, that's that little explanation right there. Okay. When that happens, then down here, you'll see the time of your last successful backup, which was for you guys. When does it say was your last successful backup?
Mine says 11:24 p.m.
1:10 a.m.
Right? So sometime at night or in the wee hours, unless you've had it connected up until now and you haven't been using it in the morning and you unplug it, you might discover that a backup was made, later. Mine, I had just plugged, my phone was out of power over the night, and I had just plugged it in here, which is why I was reading from it here because I had it plugged up. So mine actually says 9:26 a.m. The last one completed about right when I unplugged about 5 minutes ago. Because it hadn't backed up overnight because I hadn't plugged it in and I was out of power. Okay. But that one is one that I definitely recommend you guys leave on. Any questions about that one?
Yeah, what are the steps to get there? You go to settings and then
Click on your
Da-da-da-da.
name. Click on your name. And then
Okay.
from there, click on iCloud.
Got it.
And
Okay.
there, if you scroll down, you'll see iCloud backup. Did y'all find it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the iPad, if you have an iPad, has its own too, which then by the time you do both, it does sometimes overwhelm the 5 gigs. Sometimes it depends. Okay.
No,
So mine, my storage says 35.5 gigabytes out of 50 have been used. So that's when you get that 99 cents. I don't get 99 cents every month. Every once in a while, I have to. That's when you have to pay for it, and it clears it up again. Or
No, it is once a month. It's automatically once a month. You might not notice it being charged, but it is 99 cents a month. And because you have 50 gigabytes of space, that means you are paying $1 99
Right.
cents a month. That's why you have 50 gigabytes of space. If you don't pay, you only have 5 gigabytes of space. So if you're using 30 something of your 50,
right,
is that what it said? Then you still have, I don't know, another 20
Right.
or so, or 15 or so gigs to go before, if you keep filling it up. And it would fill up if you put many more photos and videos, but many, many, many more, because that's, think about it. If everything you have takes up only 30, you could have about almost double of what you have before you hit over 50, because a lot of that initial space is taken by, system backups and stuff like that. So probably your photos, you could double up on photos and videos before you run out of 50 gigabytes, right? Did y'all find what it says of how much space you have or what's left or stuff like that?
Diana, what does it mean when it says the iPhone has to be locked and on Wi-Fi?
When you open up your phone, that you have to tap in a password to unlock it. Yeah, so for some people, their lock happens in 5 seconds, but for other people, they might have it set up to not lock for an hour or something after they use it. You could change that setting, and so until it's unlocked, it doesn't actually happen. But I mean, most people don't change that setting either, and the lock happens pretty quickly. But in case you have set it up to never lock, well, then you'll never get a backup. Right? So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And
Yes, Yolanda?
so if mine says the word use is after the terabyte. So it says 708 gigs up to TB. Is it saying I had used 2 TB or I had used 708 GB?
Read it again, but I think it means that
Yeah,
it's
under
smaller.
storage.
Use the smaller one out of the bigger one, but read it to me one more time so I can.
Okay. Under iCloud, it says 708 GB
Gigabyte.
of 2 TB used.
Terabyte,
So
yes. So let me explain gigabytes to terabytes. It's kind of like inches to feet, right? So 7 gigabytes of 2 terabytes would seem weird because 7 is bigger, but it's like 7 inches out of 2 feet is less,
it's
right?
708, 708.
1,000 gigabytes is 1 terabyte,
Oh,
right? So you are far from using all of your,
oh, okay. So I'm not yet in danger of,
no.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the whole terabytes and gigabytes, when you're not accustomed to those sizes, it's like, oh, what do they mean? Well, terabytes is hugely bigger than a gigabyte, which is hugely bigger than a kilobyte, or than a megabyte, which is hugely bigger than a kilobyte. So it's like saying, you know, and I hate the imperial system, but you know, the millimeters, centimeters, you guys, how would you say it? Because all you have is like, what's smaller than an inch? A quarter inches or eighths of an inch or something like that to a whole yard, you know. It's portions of that. So and one of the things that everyone, you hear me and you don't get so much that English is my second language, but when it comes to measurements, and I live as a designer, so I had to learn how to measure things in eighths and 18ths of 16ths of weird things like that, but it just makes no sense, and I hope you all know that. The whole world uses a different system than Americans, and I can never get accustomed to that. Nor temperatures. No temperatures. You tell me that it's 8 degrees, and I go, yeah, it's hot. But you tell me in centigrades what temperature it is, and I know exactly to the degree what to wear because I totally get centigrades. And, you know, Fahrenheit just kind of tells me it's a bit hot or a bit cold, and I never really understand what cold or what hot it is. Just brains. They say that you do numbers in the language that you learn them in, and I totally agree that for, you know, temperatures and measurements, it's not automatic for me to get them in my version in my language, and I don't sound like it, right? You go like, oh, come on, you sound American, but that has never changed.
Well, a number of years ago, the U.S. was going to change, and there was a big push. It was going to be the rule, and we're all learning this stuff. And then they got so much, so many complaints about it. People were just confused, and they finally gave up. So it's,
yeah, it's you know, you need to learn something new, and come on, there's pushback on the most basic, obvious stuff now, and I'm not even going to go into politics. So can you imagine changing the whole numerical system? But just so you know, the entire world sees it differently.
Right. It made so much sense that we converted, but
my husband was here during high school, and he talks always about how they made him learn because that was the way of the future, and yet it never got used. So anyway.
And in scientific stuff in the U.S., it's a lot of the other system is being used. A lot of the measurements in scientific,
because
medicine and chemistry and all this kind of stuff that they use
yeah, because it's what the world uses, and so you
right
stuff to go kind of, what was it, one of the things in the moon or satellites, or one of the things that exploded, a really important thing was a problem with the measurement exchange. Anyway, I don't remember the details, but and I want to move off of that, but yeah, this is the one time when I go, you guys, you know, and I kind of become you Americans. The rest of the time I'm an American too, but for measurements, it's you guys. Anyway. Now, pipeline accounts on the phone, which is what John is asking me right now. We're gonna be talking right now about how to set different email accounts on precisely. So that's part of the same conversation. So all right, so unless there's any other, the questions I answer, by the way, are the ones that are, in this case, totally directed to what I'm going to be talking about and help introduce the questions. So thank you, these were good questions. And Charlene, oh, that's interesting. does it happen only overnight? I sometimes plug in during the day, and when I look right now, it said the last backup was 2 days ago. Yeah, I don't know why. I have the feeling, mine just said 9 a.m., but normally my backup is always at night, so I don't know why it just plugged in other than because it wasn't plugged in last night. But if you plug it in during the day and don't touch it for many hours and have it plugged in and you ignore it for many hours, it should do a backup, but I don't know. If you said that the last backup was 2 days ago, and it needs a certain amount of time when nothing is functioning for it to do the backup. So maybe there's other features that are functioning in the background. I don't know. That's the best answer I have for why for 2 days it didn't back up during the day. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to open my other computer to demo. So give me a sec because I did not sign into the class yet, really quickly. And here we go. Okay, is there any other question while I'm signing in? No? Okay.
Are you going to talk about keychain?
No, someone asked me some questions last week and I answered, but other than that, no, I wasn't gonna tackle keychain if you have a quick question, but other than that.
Yeah, this is George. You answered my question last week, but I still can't figure out how to see my passwords.
Okay, I showed you on the left the word password, and then it gives you access to your passwords. If you want during break to share your screen and show me, and I can show you on your keychain how to see them, I can do that, but I wouldn't do it now because then
Okay.
everyone will see your passwords.
Okay,
So,
good.
okay. All right. During break or after class, we can do that. So just for people who don't know what the question was or what he was answering or what his question was right now, he wants to know about Keychain. So let me just explain for 2 seconds. Keychain is that app on your computer that remembers your passwords, okay? So if you have a password that the Safari, for example, said, should I remember it? Or even Google, you know, computers said, should I remember your password? Do you want me to remember your password? And you said yes. Or apps that you might have installed that need a password. Keychain remembers those passwords. And when you have Keychain as part of that backup, right? So say that you go to that same account on your phone. If you remembered it on your computer, when you get to that same account, your phone goes, oh, should I use the memorized password? You go, yeah. And so it opens it up from your phone as well. And you only had to type it in once, right? So that app is called Keychain. So that said, no, I don't really cover Keychain other than to explain it a little bit like this, but you normally don't need to do anything to it other than say yes or no, and the password gets remembered. Now, a couple of times you might need to go in there to access a password. Rarely, in maybe a few times a year, there's something in particular, like if something crashed, I might need a password, and you can actually find it, but it's not easily accessible. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a very good password app, right? So anyway, which is why I don't want to look into have him share his screen and show me his keychains, or you will all see his passwords. So that's my answer to that.
Oh, okay, that's all.
Yeah, just that guy right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, Al, so that the background isn't happening. All right, so someone is asking, should we use the backup now button for the iCloud backup? And you can do that if your backup hasn't happened for a long time. But if it has, so if you know the backup we were talking about, you can force it to happen now. Other than that, it happens on its own when all of those conditions are met. But if you want to back up now, for example, you know you're about to change your phone, right? You're about to go and stop using this one and buy a new one. You want to back up now, force it to back up right now, and then everything is up to its latest backup, and then you buy your new phone, you install your new phone out of that backup, and it'll have everything up to date to the last minute. Other than that, unless you, like Charlene, it hasn't backed in 2 days, we'll press the backup now and force it to back up. But normally, if it does its backups automatically, the idea is you don't have to. If it's malfunctioning, every time you go to the Apple store, if anyone has ever gone to the Apple store and you call them to do any kind of corrections, they always say, make sure you've backed up before we do anything. That would be a good time to do a forceful backup now, because then if they mess up anything, they want to be sure that you had your backup up to the latest thing, and your stuff isn't lost, okay? So I'm gonna start sharing my screen on this side of the world. I think there was one other question. Do you need to eliminate old passwords? Not necessarily. I mean, if you can distinguish between old and new ones, but I never do. But you can, I guess. My problem would be, what if I deleted one that was one of the new ones? I don't know. I never delete my passwords. Maybe a security point of view, there's a different answer to that. I don't know. I think I told you I was going to put in the handouts the security. There's a security PD. There's a PowerPoint presentation in your handouts. That's from our school's security professionals who presented that to us once and gave us a copy to hand out to our students if you want. So if you're really worried about security and those kind of questions, go check that one out in our handouts. I did, sure, 99.9% sure I put it in there the other day after saying I would, so it should be there. All right, so now I'm sharing this screen, and this screen, and I'm gonna put certain things. This is a newly created account, and what that means that it shouldn't have any information residing in any of these apps. This is equivalent to a new computer. And I did that so that I can show you how to set up some of these things. When I try to open right now, one of these guys, say I try to open up my contacts. Oh, great. It forced me, it wouldn't set up without putting, I hate that. Let me see. I just set it up so that it wouldn't. Just the contact. Okay, so the contacts populated, but not the calendar, and probably not the email. Let me just see for a second. No, it is bringing up. Okay. Now when you set up your computer, it's very hard for it not to already bring in information. I was trying to do it while I was speaking to you guys, and so I didn't. Audrey, your screen is flashing red and your face red in your face, and it's actually pretty distracting to me. Any reason, do you know what's happening, or do you need to plug something in more or something? Not that I don't want to see you, but go and see if maybe something's happening with your webcam or something. All right. Was it happening to you guys too, or was it just for me that I was seeing her flashing? Were you guys seeing a red in face? No? Oh, it was just for me. Okay, well maybe, are you seeing the gallery view? I don't know, never mind. Okay, I'm glad to see you, that you managed to get in. All right, so in the system preferences, there's two really important places that we need to enter information. One would be, of course, you need to have your Apple ID connected. But the other one that really matters, I'm going to click here on Internet Accounts. See, that's what I hate. I did this on purpose. This is new. This is new. That it's actually good, I guess, but it's new, something that Apple does that wasn't happening before. This thing could and should be empty. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sign out. Let me just do this. I'm going to sign out of this account. Okay, so I'm gonna do this for a second. Okay. I purposely created I could have just gone into my other account. I purposely created this in order to have a clean account, and it wasn't doing it. So give me a sec while this cleans out. I guess I can stop sharing this for a minute while this is happening. But I wanted to show you how when you have a new computer, and some of you, Justine, for example, last week was talking about she didn't have her Apple ID connected, right? So then your computer operates on its own, and it just does whatever it does without connecting your information anywhere. Justine, you did connect to the iCloud, and I wanted to ask you, did anything happen that was untoward or different or surprising? In your case, you were concerned that there'd be a big change. Did anything happen that was negative?
Yeah, no, I clicked it and everything still looks exactly the same, and nope, nothing seems to be different.
Okay, there is something different though, which is that all the stuff that's in your computer now can, if you choose, be saved onto the cloud as far as documents and desktop. But anything that that's your choice. I don't know if you chose that. But anything that's in your contacts, anything that's in your calendar, anything that's in all these other apps, that for sure is now saved up online. Just like your phone is when you turn on this little backup that I talked to you about today. Now your computer is doing that as well, and it's backing up those things to the cloud. So if her computer were to die and she were to buy another computer, or just because she upgrades, things don't need to just die for you, needed to upgrade. That goes to show my thrifty thought, which is, until they're still working, you eke life out of them, right? Then you can do that by using what's online to do the transfer. I'm going to share again, Kath, and I'll show you how to do that. Kath is asking how to see half the stuff, so give me a second when I share, and I'll tell you. I'm going to show you this screen again with my mindless computer. And when I be my mindless computer, I created a new account right now. As you can see, the name up there is called Teach Mac, where I try to have it be completely empty, devoid of any information. And yet, because I had typed in my Apple ID, it already had a lot of information. The motion of putting your Apple ID in your computer is what gives your computer a lot of information, because I have a lot of stuff up in my Apple ID, right? So now that I've disconnected it again, if I go into the iCloud, it's going to ask me for mine, okay? And I'm not going to say I have it yet. Now, when I go into my internet accounts, it shouldn't be remembering them. It wouldn't let me delete them before, but now it is. So let me just show you how this works. Go ahead and go to your system preferences and open your internet accounts. And if you don't see iCloud here, because it's Catalina and your iCloud is up there, then internet accounts will be your first one. And now that I'm sharing the screen, I'm able to tell Kath how to, let me share the screen only so it's a bit easier for you to see the details. And Kath, on your screen that's showing your Zoom, if it's filling your screen, what you need to do is you need to hit the escape key now. And by hitting the escape key, it's going to kind of disconnect from its edges, right? And then you can grab that edge. Even if you don't see it too much, it won't be attached to the edges now. And then you can grab that edge and pull it sideways and have it occupy only half your screen. And then the other half you can see to your own computer. Yeah. Okay, so guys, now that I'm beginning to show something, I want you guys to do it parallel. This isn't just show and tell, this is show and tell and do on your side. It's me showing and you doing. Show and do, I guess, is the question. So I want you guys to go into your internet accounts. Now, right now, you saw me purposely delete a bunch of them. I want you to understand by that sense that there's no danger in having done that. I selected a whole bunch of stuff that was here and hit the minus, but people are worried when I do that, when I tell them, don't worry, whatever you install here, you can get rid of easily. You saw how easily I get rid of that, and just as easily, I'm going to add them now with you guys so that you will see what's happening. And basically, the idea is that you want to have any accounts in here that matter to you that you want to be able to use with the Mac computer. So if your iCloud account matters to you, which for the most part, yes, because you want to have your computer online, and just about everyone always has that. You have to connect it to the cloud, everything we've been talking about. Then you want your iCloud account, which would be this one. Now, how many of you guys use your iCloud account also as your main email? Because you might not know that, but iCloud provides you a default email when you get an Apple ID account, and you could be using it, and it would be yada 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 at iCloud.com. That would be your email address. If you've had one for a long time, it could be also yada 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 at mac.com or at me.com. Those are all the different names that the Apple account has been changing through, but it's all the same account. So I had one from way back when it was mac.com. So then that same beginning with mac.com or me.com or iCloud.com, if someone writes to me to that same beginning with any of those, it's my same email address because they just changed the way it's written, right? So it's not that I have 3 emails. It's just that if you write to either one of those 3 with the same beginning, that's my address, right? That's my Apple ID. How many of you have a Mac, me, or iCloud.com email address that you actually use? If you do, go ahead and do, give a little check mark or something on the left side. Usually, for people in real life, I have a board where I mark these things up. But I'm kind of going to have you guys use this little check mark to try that out. Okay, so quite a few of you guys, like 5 or 6 of you guys, or no, 4 of you guys have Macs, me too. Mac, me, or iCloud. How many of you guys have AOL accounts? If you have an AOL account, do a little kind of wave of hand. I'm not seeing all of you guys, but if not, go ahead and add your check mark over there. So I'm going to be asking about mac.com, me. I'm going to write this this way, or iCloud.com. That is one version. I'm writing in the chat room. Oh, I'm writing to everyone in the waiting room? What I just wrote went to everyone in the waiting room. I didn't know I could write to the waiting room. There's someone in the waiting room? No. Anyway, I just sent an email and it went to everyone in the waiting room, which is very surprising. I didn't know I could do that. So now I send it to everyone here. Then people have AOL.com, or they might have gmail.com, or they might have Cox. I believe it's net, or Yahoo.com or Hotmail.com. I'm trying to remember the typical ones. Throw out some more that you might have. Tell me a few more. Write them in there if you have anything that's not one of these. If you have anything that's not one of these, there's like, okay, Google is if it's a Google email, it's a Gmail. Okay.
Live.com.
Live.com. There's some people still have Earthlink. The other day someone was showing, I think it's a .com or .net. Earthlink, I think it is a .net. University.edu. Yeah, so some people have sbcc.edu, and I'm writing that one as in if you have any kind of university, but then you might have a work one. You might be, for example, I have a bike, sbbike.org, because I also work for them. So anyway, there's all these different emails that you could have, right? So everything I just put up there, every single thing I just put up there, no, those are not email accounts. That's a good point. Vimeo, Flickr, those are accounts, social media accounts, things like that. But I do want, thank you for putting that, because that helps me distinguish. What I've been writing up until now are, that's true, Hotmail is Exchange. Those are email addresses. So if someone writes to you at, you know, Diana@earthlink.net, that's your email address. At sbc.edu, Diana@live.com, Diana@gmail.com. That is an email address, okay? And those are the accounts I'm talking about. Vimeo, Flickr, Facebook, you know, I can't, there's tons and tons and tons of apps that you own accounts to as well. And I'm not including those in this series of questions. We're going to talk about those accounts. But over here, as you can see, it says iCloud, Exchange, Google, Yahoo, AOL as kind of a series of ideas, but it doesn't include things like Cox or other more local ones. But all of these are people who give you an email address. The company assigns you, gives you, offers you an email address. This has nothing to do with Apple. You have to go to Google and sign up for an account. You have to go to, you know, Yahoo and sign up for an account, to AOL, to iCloud when you put in your Apple ID, okay? Microsoft, I believe, is Exchange. What's Live? Because I thought Live was also one of them. For a second, wait until Norma gets some sound.
Live is Microsoft.
It is also Microsoft. Yeah, what's the difference then between Live and Exchange? Is it another version like Mac, Me, and?
Well, when they discontinued Hotmail, they turned it into Live, and then it also turned into Outlook.com. So all three of those utilize the Outlook.com website.
Okay, so basically kind of like Mac, that with Me, Mac, iCloud, you have three names. So then live.com or
it's live.com, Microsoft, MSN.com,
MSN,
Outlook.com, and Hotmail.com are all Microsoft.
I knew about all the rest. I did not know about Live. So anyway, all of those are Microsoft emails. All right. So here's the deal. How many of you pay for your email accounts?
No.
Well, guess what? If you own, for example, an example would be Cox, you do pay for it. It supposedly is free. And I want to warn you in particular about this one, because not only is it a bad email for many other reasons, but a lot of people who think that it's free because, hey, I'm paying for cable, so they gave me a free email. It is not. Because the moment you start paying for cable, guess what happens to your email? It disappears. And I'm warning you because I have so many students who, for some reason or another, have to move away from Santa Barbara, and they do not have their email that they've used for years available to them anymore. Because if you don't pay for Cox cable or, you know, TV or whatever, you do not have the right to have that email. So just if that is anywhere in your future that you have a possibility of going to live, you know, with your, you know, somewhere near to your kids or something like that, which I hear a lot, you should divest yourself of your Cox account and switch to a true, actual free email, which no matter where you move in the world, you would be able to use. For example, Gmail or iCloud or all of these other ones, Yahoo, all of those are actually go with you wherever you go. So anyway, just warning you about Cox. Now, there's a couple of others like that you might have that are paid, like, you know, but for them that are more localized. But that's the one that I just really want everyone to know about. That is, like, if you leave your job, you used to work at UCSB, you don't work for UCSB anymore, your UCSB email stopped working, right? So that's the example of Cox. It only exists because you are paying for it. Now, any account, no matter which of these, if you read your emails, many people, and I'm not going to go through that experience now because it's a bit harder here on Zoom, but in class, I start asking, how do people access their emails? And a lot of the time, people go, well, I just go to Gmail. Like you open a browser and you go to Gmail to read your Gmails, right? Or you go to Cox to read your Cox emails, or Hotmail or Yahoo or wherever to read your emails. If that sounds like how you read your emails, go ahead and give me a little check mark. So usually I have different questions for different emails, but if you read your emails by going to a browser, maybe Safari, maybe Google Chrome, and checking your email in there, go ahead and give me a little yes. And I know it's quite a few of you guys, even if you're not saying so. Now, if you don't do that, if you don't go to a browser to read your email, for example, if you ever have to read your pipeline email, if you've ever bothered to try, and if you've not taken my class, how would you read your pipeline email? You would have to go to sbcc.edu, username, password, pipeline, and click on email, right? That's the way you would check your pipeline email if you were moved to do so, which as students, we're trying to train our students to do so, because guess what? Credit students, they never get sent things home. And we've been given this special dispensation to send things to your personal emails because, credit students know that they are students in a college and that they need to check their college email, but non-credit students forget that they're college students and they don't check. And thus it's a huge nightmare administratively for all of us that people don't check their college emails. So, there's all these acts about privacy and students, and we shouldn't be using a personal email. Anyway, I'm not going to go into the details, but at some point they might get rid of the special dispensation for non-credit, and they might force us to only use pipeline email to communicate with you guys. So I want to prepare you for the future and get you ready to receive your pipeline email easily. So here's the deal. So a few people said yes. A few people probably have no idea where you check your email. So those are not answering. You just know that you kind of read your phone and there's your email. How many of you just pick up your phone and there's your email and that's where you read your email? If you read your email on your phone, give me more check marks. Now, how many go to, if you pick up your phone, this is just a question. When you do pick up your phone, you could be, can you see a little inside of me? Many of you click on this thing called mail. It's a little envelope and check your email.
Right.
Others of you might go to something like this, which is a little big M to check your email that says Gmail. See that? And so on and so forth. If you check the one that looks like a postage stamp, then you're using an envelope, then you're using the same app that we have that I'm going to teach you here in the computer. But if you're clicking the big M for Gmail, then you're using Gmail to check your mail, not the Apple product. It's equivalent to going online and typing Gmail to go to Gmail. What other ways do you check your mail that I haven't mentioned? Anyone have anything very different? Well, what's missing, and that I know some of you do check that way because you're already using it, is you might go to your actual, let me share my entire screen. Many of you guys are probably, and I'm going to bring this down here so you can see, you probably are using this little postage stamp icon. If you're using the postage stamp icon on your computer, I've cleared all the other answers, and give me a little yep, mark a little yes, that you use your postage stamp kind of icon. If you do that, that is equivalent to in your phone using this little envelope. That is exactly the same app. Okay. It looks like an it's funny because many times the apps get they have the same icon, but for mail they've kept the stamp on the phone and the envelope, sorry, the stamp on the computer and the envelope on the phone, but it is exactly the same app. Okay. So some of you use that on the computer and that on the phone, then you are using the same app. If you use different ones or if you go online, we're using different apps. So what I'm going to try to teach you today is to use these two, to use the mail app on both the phone and the computer, because this is not an email that belongs to any one company. These apps are kind of like a funnel where you say, I own these 3 accounts, and you get to read your email from these 3 accounts all at once. Or you can read them separately. It's your choice. You don't need to have them all mixed up. Some people hate having them all mixed up, and some people love that they don't need to go to 3 places and then leave them all mixed up. I'll show you the difference, how you can do that. But you can check your regular Gmail, your work, say that you work for UCSB, and your pipeline email all at once. And you don't have to be going to 3 different places to check those 3 emails. Now, there's a question now about the pipeline email, George. I'll answer that in a minute, and yes. But, oh, that's true. Thank you. I can do that too. Give me a sec. I'll do that. I'm just talking to Norma. She's going to share her phone. Now, let me say that you all have at least 2 emails, at least. Your personal one and your pipeline one. When I write to you, when I say I use both your emails, I'm writing to you to the school pipeline email. So let me show you how you get to that one. You would have to open a browser. You would have to type sbcc.edu. You would have to go into pipeline. We've gone through this quite a bit, right? We've done this for handouts. You would have to go in and type your pipeline address. That thing that popped in saying, do you want to save this email? That was Keychain asking me, do you want to save the email? I should have stopped and I just automatically said, yeah. And then in here, I don't know if you've ever really noticed, but there's this thing called email. And I'm going to put on my little spotlight things that you can see my mouse better. Okay, so see this over here? That's your email. You would click in here, and guess what? You are going to check your school email. By the way, thank you. Some people have been sending me photos of their setups with, you know, that I asked for the screen. And so thank you so much, all of you guys. Anyway, so here's where you can read, and notice, for those of you who know, this is a Gmail account. If you own Gmail accounts, you recognize this. This is a Gmail, but it is a pipeline account. Now I'm going to switch off of it a little bit. I don't want to make sure I don't have like student emails there, but that's how you would have to check your pipeline email, which is not necessarily something you probably do every day, right? Well, you know how I do write to you, and normally I don't write to you this much, but now I'm sending you the link to the class every morning, Tuesday and Tuesday and Thursday, and those of you who are in other of my classes are getting them from, you know, my other classes. So you're getting emails from me all the time. I am sending them to your personal ones, but in the hopes that at some point you will begin to check your pipeline email, I am also sending it to your pipeline email account. Now, the reality is that unless you're a regular student with needs for assignments and dates and deadlines and grades, you probably won't be going and doing all of this, right? But you could be checking your email by adding your email to this Apple right here. I'm going to minimize this. You could be adding it right here to be able to be checked in this app. by adding it here in your internet accounts and your system preferences. Okay. Now, at school, whenever I tell people to do this, they're all like, oh, but I don't want to get a lot of emails I don't want to see. Right? Well, first of all, other than now that because we're gone online and you're communicating with you online much more, other than that, non-credit students do not get too many emails. They only get emails from their instructors, and like once or twice a semester they might get something from Emma reminding them to sign up. You know, the registration is open and stuff like that. Now and then you might get a mass email from the whole college saying, you know, school is closed because of, you know, fires or stuff like that, but you do not get a ton more than that. And I always show people when they go to email accounts, they might have 4 a month, you know, 5 a month. So we're talking 1 a week. So it's not many. If you have a class where your teacher communicates with you by email, like I do, like Norma does, then you might get from me or from Norma, but that's fine. You are in our classes. That's why you're getting email from us, right? But other than that, it's not like the school barrages you with unrequested email. So instead of having to do this whole setup to check your email, I'm going to show you how to set it up right here. And then we're going to use this app to read that email. And parallel to that, we're going to set up any other accounts that you have, AOL or Yahoo or whatever it is that you have. By setting them up in here, you'll be able to then check your email or calendars that you might have in any of those accounts, or contacts you might have in any of those accounts, or notes that you might have made in any of those accounts. So a lot of these different apps will populate with information you have from those accounts. And if you like that, go for it. If you don't like that, all you need to do is, as I did earlier, is select it and click the minus and off it goes. So it's not hard to add. It's certainly not hard to get rid of. It's only a little bit harder than that to add it. So we're going to do that now. So everyone go and open your system preferences. Open your system preferences. And some of you, because you've taken this class before, then you would have that in there. Okay, so Dorothy's making a point. Okay. Dorothy says, college buys and think EDU send lots of emails. All right. So if you ever had to purchase student software at a discount price, then I've given you she takes a lot of my Adobe Creative Cloud, Photoshop, those kind of classes. And so I've sent people to a website called collegebuys.org, where as a student, using your pipeline email address, you get really, really reduced software prices. Now, she says College Buys sends her a lot of emails because in order to get that software at a cheap price, you need to give them your student email, which is your username. And I'm going to write here what your college email is in the chat. It's your username, the one that you use to enter Pipeline, at pipeline.sbcc.edu. So George, you were asking about the email address. That's your student email address. So your username, whatever it is, at pipeline.sbcc.edu. That is your username. Does everyone see it in the chat? Copy that and paste it, because people forget it's pipeline.sbcc.edu. It's not necessarily it's not just pipeline, and it's not SBCC. Okay, it's the word pipeline.sbcc.edu. Now, that if you ever want a student discount on anything or anywhere, that is what you need to write. So then that company that she bought stuff from is sending her emails. Well, guess what, Dorothy and any other company, go to their companies and go to College EDU and click on notifications and tell them stop emailing me. That is not a product of Pipeline. That's because when you signed up for an account for them to buy cheaply, you probably left it checked on contact me, my email, that kind of thing, right? So that is something you need to deal with, those companies. But Pipeline will only receive emails from people that you've given them your email and allowed them to notify you by email all the time, kind of thing. You all know that. You get, if you sign up for, I don't know, Macy's or Nordstrom's, all those places, they start emailing you stuff. So it's your choice to say, no, don't email me, that kind of stuff. Same with that. But from school, you get very few email addresses. Okay, so now, has everyone opened their system preferences? Okay,
Yes.
so now go to internet accounts. And as I just showed you, the pipeline email is a Gmail address. So let's go click on Google. And are you all getting this one here? Google Ricardo, you might not get it. It depends on how you have it set it up. Are you getting that one?
Yes.
I'm seeing a lot
Where
of
did you say? You said click on Google. Where do I click on Google?
Okay, open your system preferences to start with. We can do it from the dock or from the Apple.
I'm
System
already
preferences.
there, but I had, so
And then
all
go
my,
to internet accounts. Internet
I am
accounts.
already there. I
Okay.
am already there.
Oh, got it. I see what you mean. It's possible that you already have accounts in here. So you're
Yes,
not seeing
yes.
this? Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
if you click on, if you already have accounts in here, then you need to go and click on this little plus sign right here, which mine is gray.
Okay.
Down here, there's a minus and a plus. Mine is gray. I don't have any accounts. But if you have anything in here already, you need to click on a plus sign, and then you'll get this screen.
Okay,
So thanks
okay.
for saying that, Yolanda. I would have forgotten. Does everyone see this screen now?
Okay, yes.
Anyone else who does not see it? See, I like it because Yolanda speaks up and the rest of you just don't see it and don't speak up. So if anyone else does not see this, you need to speak up. Plus sign is the way to get to this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on Google now.
Click on Google.
And I think that this is saying Safari because Safari in this situation is my default browser. If you guys at some point said that Google Chrome is your default browser or something else, then it wouldn't be saying that. It would be opening Google, right? But if it's saying this, it's because the default setting for your computer is Safari. So go ahead and say open Safari or Google Chrome or whatever. You need to sign in to your account.
Mine says open browser.
Yeah, so it'll say open browser then. And then go ahead and say yes, open browser. And then you'll have something like this. That it could be either on Safari or on Google Chrome or on Mozilla, whatever you use. Are you all here?
Yes.
Right. So now here, you need to write your entire email. Go up a few chats away is mine, username at pipeline.spcc.edu. You need to write that entire thing. So in my case, it's DE Musacchio. That's my username at pipeline.sbcc.edu. So that is your email. So your username, not mine, at pipeline.sbcc.edu. And this is the place where if it's not going to work, it's not going to work because maybe you forgot to write a dot between the words pipeline and SBCC and edu, or maybe you wrote pipline, and so, check the word again and again, because this is where if you make a mistake, it doesn't go through, okay? So check it many times to make sure that it does say a pipeline, and it says SBCC and not SBBC, you know what I mean, those kind of typos. So check it a few times, because in class, no matter how many times I say that, when it doesn't work, I have to go around and there's 3, 4, or 5 people each time who haven't typed it in correctly. So I can't do that for you right now. So I'm asking you to double and triple and quintuple check it before we move on to make sure there's no typos. Okay, so it's your email, your username, which I can't correct for you, at pipeline.sbc.edu. Okay, if that's been typed in, now let's do next. And it's going to take you to your pipeline login because it is the school email. So there, in this case, only your username. So if you already have it memorized, that's good. But if you don't have it memorized, you do not put your entire pipeline address here. You use only your username and your password. Okay. So type in your username and your password in case you don't have it memorized. And if you do, and then hit login.
Diana, sorry to interrupt. I have that already on my addresses? Am I supposed to do what you're doing?
No, if you've already taken my class, Yolanda, and you've done this with me, if you already have Pipeline installed in your email address, don't do this. Just watch this a little bit because you already have it. But
All
you
right.
you might have another Gmail address or something like that you want to put in. I think that you're all set up, Yolanda, with your addresses. Okay, so they'll say log in. And that's all we needed. And now I'm going to stop right here. So when everyone is here, I'm going to continue. So we're not going to continue until everyone tells me they're here. So to tell me you're here, I want you to go to your participants and give me a green check mark.
Diana, I got, everything happened just as you said, but the last screen that opened is not what opened for you. It says Mac OS wants to access your Google account.
That's what I've got too. Carol, this is Carol.
That's okay. You're telling your Mac that it's okay to read your Pipeline email address. That Google account is your Pipeline email, okay? The Pipeline that school uses calls it SPCC, but it's a Google account. So say yes.
But we just say allow, right?
Okay.
Click to
Allow.
Say allow. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Anything else that's different? Yes, thank you. Everyone who has something different, please pipe up and tell me, because your situation might happen to be as when Sue said that 3 other people said yes. So please speak up if you're not seeing the same thing. And when you get to this page, then go ahead and give me a green check mark so that I know that you're here. Now, if you already had Pipeline set up, so you're not doing it with us, give me a green check mark too, so I don't stop and ask you one by one. So if you say, oh, I already did this, I got it done, which some of you have done it in other classes with me, then give that a green check mark as well. Okay?
Diana?
Yes?
I have a problem here. There's a little square, looks like a flag in the right-hand corner. It says swap shared screen with video, and I don't know what.
Swap shared screen with video, you would stop seeing me and you would stop seeing the like you would stop seeing my shared screen and you would see my words or whoever's speaking. So you don't really, that's it. You don't want to swap. You want the sample.
It's next to that, it has enter full screen, and when I hit that, I get the.
Yeah, that's all Zoom in case you want to enter full screen to fill your screen again, which won't work if you do that because then you won't be able to work on your own. So say no or cancel or whatever negative option is available. Do not enter full screen. You know, I never know what the actual yeses or nos are.
Yeah, it says switch to sharing content.
Are you trying to share your screen? And it's saying
well,
no.
I was trying to get your screen and the Zoom screen at the same time, and now I've got your screen with the sand dunes in a small.
Oh, like a little tiny 1 by 1. Okay. In order to see me a bit bigger, hover over that little video, and you'll see that there's going to be like a little arrow that you need to click, and then it'll open up again. You have to, it'll have like a little.
Well, there's 4 things up the top there. One was 1 dash, and then there's a little bigger one than 2 dashes.
Yeah, so that's how many people you see. If you click on the one, you see one person. If you click on the grid, you'll see all of us or a string of us. It's all Zoom questions. This is all Zoom trying to see itself differently.
Yeah.
Are you able to move that aside enough so that you can continue working, seeing me, and then seeing your system preferences?
Yeah, well, that's my point. I can't get to my screen, my system preferences. I go at the top and it has Zoom US and then meeting view. I can't get to.
Okay, and the thing is that even if you share your screen, I won't see all of that because when you share, Zoom doesn't share. That's why I'm not telling you to share your screen. So the one that says Zoom meeting and all of that, you can minimize that window. Click on the middle button of those so that it minimizes and it disappears from your screen, and that might help you. The one that says Zoom meetings, all of that one, just hit them, and then it'll disappear.
And
You don't
then
wanna
it's got
close it,
exit
but-
full screen, mute audio, keep on top, stop video, start here. In view, it's got show manage participants, show chat.
Yeah, you have to get rid of all of that. You need to click on whatever minimize button you have on the top left or right so that you can push that to the side. I don't know how you entered that mode. but-
When I, okay, there I got a full screen.
Exit full screen, yes. Go ahead in that. You can also hit escape.
Uh-huh. You're viewing Diana Machacio's screen, and then view options, request remote control, side-by-side mode.
Yeah, you've got you're it's like you're trying to share. Let me see if I can stop my share, and I don't think I can help you too much, but if you share your screen, I might be able to. When I stop sharing, it makes it easier for people to then move things to the side. Can you, now that I stopped sharing, see what windows you need to turn off or move to the side? Because when I share, it's much more invasive. Are you able to clear out the space now to make some space on your screen?
Oh yeah, I can move this to one half of the screen.
Yeah, do that. Do that. That way when I share again, my sharing will only occupy that half of the screen.
Okay.
So do that. There you go. So now when I share again, you'll have that half of the screen left for you to open your system preferences and do this with us. Okay?
Okay.
So if it's been moved into half of the screen, now I'm going to share again. Okay?
Okay.
And share should not occupy your whole screen now. Okay. So here we go.
Deanna?
Yes, Justine?
Hi, it's Justine. So I had the same issue as Sue, where it came up and said allow, and I've lost track now of what the language was, but the same situation. So
Yeah.
at the bottom, I clicked whatever I did, yes, accept or whatever, but now that window's gone. It
That's
just
fine,
cleared
because
out.
You said yes, and thus once you say yes, the window disappears. Your Mac
Right.
OS has been given permission to look at your pipeline account.
So do I need to go back into system preferences to follow along with what you're doing?
Oh, your system preferences has.
Well, that's what I mean. The whole window that was there, just everything just cleared out.
Yeah, go ahead and open. If you did, then open system preferences again.
Right.
And go back to internet accounts, and then
Right.
and maybe you already inadvertently hit the done, and that's why it's all finished. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
Let me go ahead and share your screen.
Oh. Well, I don't.
Unless it's fine, unless
I
what
need to
you've
do
got.
that. I mean, basically, do I just need to go back into internet accounts and to Google? I mean,
Yeah,
is that what
go
we're
back to
doing?
internet accounts, and then if what you see is very different than what I have, then share your screen so I can get you back to where I'm at.
Okay.
So, Carol, you've asked me that your internet account looks very different than mine. So can I see over here on internet accounts? Here, let me request remote control. Or there we go. Okay. So so click on Google. Go ahead, say open browser. Then put in your email there.
Right. Yeah, and I've already done all this.
Well, for some reason it got disconnected.
Yeah.
So I'm having to do it again because your problem might be many other people's problem by doing it. I'm gonna mute everyone. But you're gonna have to open up your sound again to speak to me, because since I muted everyone because there were noises in the background, now you're muted as well. Okay, go ahead and say login. And let me see what happened. Okay, so stop there. And this will allow, yeah, that's fine, say allow. And now let's see what happened. There we go. Good, now you're where I wanted. So somehow this part got missed. Inadvertently you got to cancel, but now you're in the right spot. So
okay.
Now
All right.
leave it there since you're sharing for a minute. guys, how come I'm still hearing? I thought I muted everyone, but I'm still hearing. Okay, no, I didn't mute everyone. Okay. All right, so here we go. So is everyone here in the setting where you're seeing check marks next to mail, contacts, calendar, and notes? Are you all here? All right, so let me explain this so that you can decide what you leave checked on or not. Now, when you look at, oh, she has her doc here on the left side of her screen. Some of you guys, I wanted to show this because, in fact, some people do prefer that, and then they don't get many demos. And I know that Yolanda, I know 2 or 3 people use their screen, their doc here on the side, including King. He uses doc on the side as well. So here we have many of the apps that are mentioned. You have the mail app over here. It's off, as you can see in her case. Then you have, and it's kind of small, but you have contacts, which is right there. You have the calendar, which I believe you might not have. You might not be using your calendar. No, you don't have your calendar there.
No.
And your notes. So again, if she has cleaned out her doc and taken out things that she does not use, then she does not have the calendar or the notes in her doc. So remember I said if you don't use it, get rid of it. She seems to have done that. I don't know if now or before. Now there's other things here that you might not be using, or right now they're not in use, that you might need to consider if you never use them, not to have them. But if not, when I show you how these apps work, if you want them, you can put them back on the dock. But the whole point is that by checking these marks, then for the pipeline account, and only for the pipeline account, okay, you will be able to, using the mail app, you will read pipeline email. Using the contacts app, you will read any contacts that are pipeline contacts, okay, school contacts. For the calendars app, if you have it, you will be reading any appointments that are school appointments. And I use that a lot because meetings get set up for me by administration and things like that, and they get set up in the school calendar, which is the pipeline calendar. But other than that, as a non-credit student, you probably won't be getting many or anything to put into the pipeline school calendar. So I would probably suggest that you should maybe not turn this check mark on for your pipeline school calendar, because it will have no utility. And I'll show you later how easily you can turn it on or off again. But just to change something, we're going to say no to the calendar. Then the notes app. I don't know if you guys use it. I use it a ton. But if you do use it a lot, even me, who I use it a lot, I use it only in one account, in my personal account, and I make notes about everything under the world. I don't have different notes in different accounts, so that's just me. But again, I don't know how to use notes. You might not need it. You probably won't need the pipeline notes. So let's turn that one off again. But all I'm doing by this is I'm not making anything exist or not exist. Rather, if you already have email in your pipeline accounts, which you do, okay, you will be able to see it through here. If you have contacts in your contact pipeline, which you might not know, but you do, we'll leave it on so that we can have something to play with. Then you'll see it there, and so on and so forth. So that's what these options are giving you. And you can say yes to all or only one, but now we're gonna leave 2 on and 2 off. So I want everyone to make that choice, just so that in class we can have these 2 choices to learn from and play around with. Go ahead and say done now. So everyone make those same choices for yourself and say done. Okay. Now, one more thing. The here on the left side, sorry, this is distinguishing itself as your entire email address. You can leave that entire email address there. Or you could say, well, I would rather just have the word pipeline or the word SBCC, right? Or the word school or something like that. It's your choice. You don't need to have the entire email here. Now, in this case, pipeline is very distinct from one another, but some of you guys have maybe 3 different Google emails and they are slightly different from each other. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. For some of you guys do. They'll have like, you know, Justine 1, Justine 2, Justine 3, and it, you know, something like that. So you might want to describe them as work, home, personal, junk email. I have a junk email, right? So it's up to you. So if you want to, go over here to where it says details. Thank you, Bill's reminding me about breaks. I'm sorry I didn't give you a break yet. I'll give it to you as soon as we're done with this. Justine, can you go see where it says details next to your name, Justine?
Mm-hmm. And can I ask, when you talk about, you know, maybe changing it to just say pipeline or SPCC, is that for security? You mean like if someone gets a
No,
hold of your computer?
for you to have, instead of that long name, which you might have a similar name to that at Google, at
Oh, I see what you mean.
mail
Just,
or whatever, it's
okay.
more distinguishable.
Like
if you
just say
call it
pipeline.
pipeline or SPCC, it's a choice. You don't have to, but many of us have many Google emails, and this distinguishes it better.
Mhm.
Whatever, just say okay. Some people would.
So I
prefer.
said pipeline, yeah.
Yeah, and so now see how on the left side the name changed to saying pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to do that, or you might not. It's up to you. But I'm giving you an idea of how else to do that. Okay.
Okay.
Now, we're gonna I'm gonna stop her sharing. We're gonna take a break, but hold on.
Deanna, can I say something first?
Yeah.
Can I just show you my desktop used to be covered with a ton of stuff and folders, and I want you to see that it's clean and all I have on there are aliases.
You are so awesome. Thank you.
I cleaned it up.
My little aha moments of yay.
So thank you for that. Thank you for showing me how to do that.
You are so welcome, and thanks for sharing that. That happened in macOS level 1, you guys, for those of you who haven't taken it. Okay. So let's take a break. Everyone, we're gonna stop there for a minute. We're gonna take a break. If everyone has made those 2 choices of mail or contacts and said done, now, what time is it? It's 10:42. So let's meet at, almost 11. Let's say at 3 to 11. Okay. 3 minutes to 11. Come in a bit earlier so that by that time we can get going. All right. George, who else did I say I needed to help? 2 people needed help that I said, Al and George. So Al, you were first. Go ahead and share your screen, Al, because
Okay, I'm going to share the screen.
Yeah, and then George, hold on. George, if you're still there, I would do yours after class when people have gone, because if not, you'll be sharing your password. So I'm not sure if that's what you want to do. All right, so Al, share your screen, please.
Okay, I shared the screen. Can you see that?
No, you need to do, you're welcome, Justine. You need 2 clicks. You need to click on share screen, and then you need to go to the far right of whatever you see next, and there's another little share button, a blue share button on the far right of that next screen. Click on that. Your eyes need to be looking far right of that screen there. You see share again?
Yeah.
Okay, click on
No,
that.
I don't see share on this screen here.
All right. Go ahead and go down to your participants to the tab and click on the big old green share screen button first.
Yeah, okay.
Then whatever you're seeing in front of you that pops up, on the bottom right of that thing you're seeing, there's another button that says share. It's blue. It's light blue.
Ah, yeah. Okay, I click that.
There we go. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Now you're sharing your screen. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me, I'm going to request remote control because I want to go and check and see. So are you getting a request for me to do remote control?
Yeah, and I clicked
approve. Say perfect, approve. Okay, thank you. All right, so now stop using your mouse because we can't move 2 at a time. So lift your hand with your mouse for a minute. Okay. So now I want to go ahead and check. Here we go. your desktop,
It's got a bunch of stuff it shouldn't have, but
yeah, you moved it up here, but it doesn't belong there. I'm just moving it in here in the sense that your stuff is not in the
Okay.
cloud. You have your desktop and your documents and your downloads are all on your computer. Okay, see when you look here on the bottom, they're all on your computer, right?
right?
And so now I want to have an idea of how big this is. So I'm hitting Command I, which is information.
Uh-huh.
And it's telling me that on your documents, you have about 6 or so gigabytes.
Uh-huh.
And on your desktop, you have, whoa, about 10 gigabytes. So you have about 11 gigabytes plus 6. And so you have like 17 gigabytes of data between your desktop and your documents. Okay, so you do have a whole bunch of stuff. Now let me see how much of that is photos, and I'm gonna check your photos. Yeah, so you also, and you have a photos folder in your documents that has 5 gigabytes of stuff. So these photos alone, by putting this stuff online, this photos alone would take up your free 5 gigabytes.
Yeah, so I don't want those.
So, but when you're saying you want to save your stuff onto online, then this is on your documents folder, this photos folder. So if you don't want it, then you might want to move all your photos to your like pictures folder that we can bring up or something, so they're not backed up or something like that.
Right.
But that would still leave on your desktop, you have 10 gigabytes. So if you really want to save everything you have, even if you get rid of your photos, and this is not your photos app, just a folder of photographs that is not your photos app, okay?
Right.
You have a folder of photographs here that is 6 gigabytes, no, 5 gigabytes. You have, something called junk photos. Let me see how big this is. That's not too big. It's only, 400, that's another half a gigabyte. Between this one and this one, I don't know if you have photos somewhere else. If you have any, let me see, the Potluck folder is 19 megabytes, so that's not big. The rest don't seem so big. Let me actually change how I see things so I can look at sizes without having to open an info on every one of them. So I'm going to look at your size, and you have individual files that are not so big. It's just your photo. It's just your, let me see, in 200 KB, so that's not so bad. Okay, so in your Potluck folder is not very big. It's mainly your, and I'm gonna change how you use things again for a second. It's mainly your documents. Okay, so it's individual folders. If we leave this open for enough time, it'll force, let me force the sizes to be read. Give me a second. I'm gonna show view options. I'm gonna see calculate all sizes. Okay, so I'm just doing some stuff that's gonna help us see what all the extra stuff that you have is. So now the folders are giving me their sizes as well. And so now I can see that, okay, so basically, yeah, your photos folder is is 5 gigabytes. That's your big thing in your documents. And in your desktop, I'm gonna do the same thing. View options, calculate all sizes, and you have 10 gigabytes here under health. So those are your two folders that are big, your health and your photos folder. if you want to
Yeah.
save anything that's in there, maybe you have photographs, or here health folder 2 is that's the one that has all the weight. Your health folder 2. You open
That's the X-ray stuff.
health. So I'm not sure what else. Let me open just your health folder, and under size for this one. Again, I should just turn the view on, show sizes on all of them. I'm going to use as defaults for everything. Then now let's see, 2 gig. Okay, those guys are the ones that are taking up a lot of your space. These guys right
Oh, okay.
They're movies.
Yeah.
See, they're movies. Yeah, I said
Yeah.
movies and photos are what use up your data. And
So
there you
I
go.
can
You
get
have
rid
a ton of movies here that are really big. So
Uh-huh.
basically, back to what I was. So I'm going to go back and put everything back to how you had it so that you can find your, and the way you're accustomed to. There you go. So basically, if you want to save all your stuff online, either you need to pay $1 a month so that it's $12 a year, and then all of the stuff will be backed up, or you cannot back up any of your health and like your health files, or at least
Yeah.
not your videos, because just that alone is going to be more than 5 gigabytes. See what
Yeah,
I mean?
those aren't important. I downloaded those and I didn't realize they were that big.
Yeah,
And,
videos are huge. So as I say, videos and photos, and as approved by looking at all your stuff, it's the videos and the photos that are giving you 15 gigabytes of stuff that you thus don't fit into your account. If you take the information and put it somewhere else that's not documents and desktops, like for example, put those in your pictures folders, then the rest of the stuff is probably going to go there fine. And I can do that for you if you want, but other than that, so let me give that a try. And then let me give you access to your pictures folder. It's not necessarily the most orthodox way to do it, but we can try that. So now I can put your health, I think, was it this one that had all those? Here, I think the video, where were the videos?
I think it's the aging video.
It's,
Those, yeah.
it's for. If we move, and then all of these export, all of these are pretty big, so all the way to there. If I move all of this to your pictures folder, which is what I did,
Right.
there you go.
Okay.
And in your documents, I grab your photos folder and move it in there, and your junk photos and move them in there. Now it's possible that your documents is only 1 gigabyte, and your desktop is only
half a gig.
500 megabytes. So now if you turn on your choices, it should work,
Okay.
because I've made you have much less stuff in your documents.
Now I
Okay.
just go, okay. I just
So
go
now
back
I'm
in
gonna
there.
try, if you turn on to put your clouds and your desktop on the iCloud, if you check that mark, see if it still says you don't have enough space. It shouldn't, given that all the space was taken up by those videos and those photos. I'm gonna take a break. I have about 3 more minutes. So go ahead and give that a try.
Thank you very much. Okay.
What's that?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'll try and do that now. Let's see now from here.
So, hi everyone. Everyone back? I start speaking and I start making noises and people slowly start showing up and turning on their videos and showing that they're back there. So go ahead and
Hello.
making noises. Hello, hello, hello. Come on back. Ring the bell. I'm going to go. Assistant said. So you guys, you know, it was my Mac classes. I don't know how many of you have been in them before, but I was given many different bells by people over the years. And then you guys are a chatty bunch when you're in class, right? And so to set an order, I would dingle, you know, ding my bells. And this one was the last one I got a while ago now. And it's a cowbell, kind of cute. And I have it here, but I have like 5 different bells that people gave me per time. So pretty cute. All right, is everyone back? Class is back. All right. So I just wanted to say that I'm going to be teaching you how to use our email app here, the Mac email app. But Norma reminded me that if you want to know how to use email in general, other emails, I guess, Windows emails or Google Gmail.
No, the email for beginners class deals specifically, they utilize their pipeline account, but it applies to all Gmail.
So if you want to
They're going to go online through their pipeline account. So if you need help with pipeline, the email for beginners class is a wonderful one to learn how to use pipeline and Gmail. It's offered in the fall. Eric is teaching it.
Okay, so that's the reminder that she sent me in. I was trying to remind you guys. Now, by setting it up in here, you can handle it through the Mac. You don't need to go into Pipeline. But if he's also going to teach you how to use Pipeline per se, not just Gmail, then there's much more to learn about Pipeline. But just to get your emails, I'm basically showing you how to do it for a Mac, okay? So, but there's so much more to learn to Pipeline. So if that's part of the class, that's a great idea. But if you want to know how to handle any other email addresses, now my goal is in this class to teach you how to put all of your emails in here, handle them all from here. So if that's enough for you, then that's fine. If not, Eric, what's his last name? Eric Jackson, I think is his last name, is teaching an email for beginners class in the fall. Okay.
I have a quick question about the email situation. I'm a Cox person and I'd love to get out. But, you know, my bank accounts, credit cards, Amazon, hundreds of friends.
Yeah.
Friends aren't so hard because
yeah,
you know, I feel like I'm absolutely, it would be thousands of hours of work to get out of this. And so I wonder if you had any recommendations.
Yes, I do, because this happens a lot. And it's a lot of work, yes, but it doesn't need to be as that much. You do have to create a new email, maybe a Google, Yahoo, I don't know, one of the actual free ones. I don't necessarily want to say one company is better than another, but meaning one that you can use from all around the world. So say that you decide to make a Google email. That's your new email.
No.
Yeah.
So the first step would be to make an email. You tell, you know, to general friends and whatever that you're changing your email. You can do that, but that isn't the way you're going to change a lot of stuff. What you should save your energy for is for, yes, if you have bank accounts and things like that that send you email to those places. So that would be a one-on-one going into changing your accounts. But that in the end is finite. 10, 30, I mean, you get to a point that is done. And then the real issue is all the people that you don't have accounts with, friends or, you know, family, people that reach out to you maybe once every year, right? Because even if you email people once and telling them, hey, I'm changing my email, that doesn't mean that people will do anything about it. They won't go running to their contact book and change your email, stuff like that. So what you end up doing is you tell people once that you're changing your email, and then you leave an automatic message on your old email, the Cox one, that whenever people email to it, it says, I've changed my email. My new email is this one. Please bookmark it. Please put it in your contacts and stuff like that. And you basically have to do that at the very least for minimum 6 months, right? Where you keep checking both emails, and slowly people start getting the message every time they write to you that, and then we could change the warning after, in 2 months I won't check this anymore, in 1 month I won't check this anymore, in 1 week I won't check this anymore. And you say that, but you do keep checking for a year. And if things keep landing in there that you care about, you say, okay, this is truly it. You won't be able to write to me anymore unless, so it takes some work. In fact, although it's dedicated work, the accounts are the easiest, because you can go in and change them and that's it. They stop writing you to your old one. It's the rest of the people who don't write to you a lot, that every 6 months they might write to you, and you need to catch those and let them know that, hey, you know what, I've changed my email. So it takes quite a while. And if you're planning at any time to leave Santa Barbara and to not have Cox anymore, start now. It might take you 6 months. It might take you 8 months. It might take you a year before you stop seeing anything new or that you care about landing into your old email that you still kind of keep driving them to your new one. How do you set up an auto reply? Depends on each company. If in each company's, you have to go to their web browser and open up your Cox account in the browser, not through this. You open up your Gmail account, open up your Yahoo account in the browser, and in their settings, usually in some place or another, you will be able to put in an auto reply saying that you canceled this account, you're not reading it anymore, please send my stuff to my new email, which is such and such. And yet you do still check it, right? But slowly you can start checking it once a day, then once a week, then once a month, and then once, after a while, hopefully once a month for quite a while, until everyone has transferred their email to you.
Okay, just
yeah.
one other quick thought about that is I've been dealing with some kind of complicated things with companies and banks and stuff. And I realized it's so hard to talk to anybody. You have a problem with your credit card and you end up talking to somebody who's at home. You wait for an hour to talk to them. And I was just sitting here thinking, maybe this is something that should wait until, people are back working in their offices.
Well, you don't need to talk to anyone for what I'm saying to do, not a single person. This is
But
about.
I mean, if you have a credit card, you can't just send to the credit card a message and say, I've changed my email address.
No, but you go online to your credit card account. That's where they'll want it. They won't do it on your phone anyway. They'll want you to sign into your account online. And in your account online, they'll say, change your,
Okay, I can do that without talking to anybody. Yeah, okay.
You would never do any of this on the phone with anyone. It would always be online with all your companies and accounts, because that's how they communicate with you through email. And one last thing before we go, because I know that in the future classes, you'll have more questions about this stuff, especially people who begin to attempt it. You might want to also consider that you should have another email, even beyond the ones that we're talking about. You should have 2 more. And let me explain what the 2 more should be. You should have one that everyone, your friends, your family, everyone knows you. That's your email. Great. And that's the one that if you have a Cox, I recommend slowly transitioning and switching without hurry, because the problem is when people have to move from one day to the next or from 2 months away, and Cox doesn't give them that lead time. You have to keep paying Cox for another year to have it be live. You know what I mean? So be careful with that. So if you really have a Cox email and you see any possibilities of not paying Cox anymore, you got to start that transition early. Then you need to have an email that you give to everyone you don't want to hear from, and I call it my junk email. So you have an account that you create with some company, and it's your junk email. So when everyone out in the world asks you for an email that you don't want them to have it, it needs to be a live, valid email. And you go, oh, sure. And you give them an email. So a lot of times that comes online. They go, please sign into this thing to get a discount. Yada, yada. Give them an email, whatever. Give them your junk email. It's live. If you ever care to read your junk email, you can. It's a live actual email. But that way you stop getting a ton of spam in your real email. So those 2 are essential to own. Then you have for sure your school email. You might have a work email. So that's already 4. The other important email to have, and you can use your junk email for that, but it's better to have another good email. And it's to have only for confirming your email accounts, because many times you get told to put in another email so that if this one stops working, you want to change your password and whatnot. So it's good to have another email that you use for that stuff. I use one like that at the same time I use for subscriptions to things that I do want to read, but not all the time. So junk mail, there's one I never read, but there's some subscriptions that I subscribe to, but I don't want to be getting every single day their digest or once a week, because I don't get a chance to read it all the time, but now and then I do. So I subscribe to those things with an email that I call my subscription email, right? And so whenever I want to check those emails, those newsletters, I can just go check those newsletters. And so in this email program, the way I'm going to teach you to do it, it's very easy to just turn on and off whatever you want to read without having to read all the rest. Okay.
So you can have multiple Gmail accounts?
So I have multiple
Okay.
email accounts, not only one per business work that I have different jobs, but I also have a personal one, and I have a junk mail, and I have a subscription email. Those are the, personal ones, so to say. And you don't have to do that. But the whole point is that if you say that you set them all up with Gmail, right? Then you just handle them all from here. And if you have to go to Gmail online and check each email address, you will go crazy. You will never check them. But with something like the mail app that I'm showing you right now, you can set them all up the way we just did with Pipeline. You can set up your subscription, your junk, your whatever, and then you just turn them on and off whenever you want to read them. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay.
Great.
So that you can handle having a bunch of emails, and you just check them all from one place whenever you want to, and whenever you don't, you just don't turn them on. All right. You can do
Deanna?
that with other things if you're in Microsoft or stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a quick question on an email I don't use.
Okay, give me a sec. Give me a sec, because I see Norma raising her hand, and she might have other information before I answer questions.
If you are synchronizing across multiple types of devices, i.e. a Mac, PC, Android, it's actually better to set up an email account with Outlook.com, because it coordinates better between all the devices than Gmail. That's just my observation in having synchronized so many different devices. Outlook.com is a Microsoft Exchange program, and it behaves better across the platforms. That's just
Okay, so if you don't have, if you, for like Justine, for example, who doesn't have an iPhone, then you might want to not use Gmail, is what Norma's saying. But if you guys have iPhones and computers, and hold on, if you have iPhones and Macs, you can have Gmail and it synchronizes really well. But I guess not if what you're saying, Norma, is that in Androids or in other devices?
And it basically, Outlook.com just behaves better. Google tends to have quirks when synchronizing some things with Windows. It does great with an Android device and a Mac, but it does not do well if you're dealing with Windows also.
Okay.
So that's just the observation. Also, just be aware, Google tracks everything on you. That's just my side point about Google. Come take my Tech Talk class. I talk a lot about, and that's actually one topic I do address in Tech Talk. When you're choosing your emails, what email accounts should you or should you not use, and the pros and cons, that's all.
Okay, so thanks for that. Tech Talk is a class that she teaches where she gets into the nitty gritty of this kind of stuff. So you're not doing it in the fall, you said though, right?
No, that one will be in the fall on Thursday afternoons from 1 to 3:30.
Right.
And
it's all online, right? So it's so easy to sign up to a lot of classes. If you've nothing else to do than couch surf, then you might as well couch surf our Zoom classes. Now, if you're out there having a busy life, you got to pick and choose. But hey, if you're going to be, hanging out, why not hang out with us, awesome teachers, and learn a bunch of stuff at the same time?
So it's also the case that if, like, I was in Cuba and I was in Cuba and I couldn't use my email, And
Because it was a Cox email, or why?
yeah, but other people seem to be getting through, and I didn't think of it in terms of who the provider was.
Yeah,
I just
no,
didn't
Cox
know
is-
I could. So
Cox,
that,
if you're gonna have an email, the worst one I would ever recommend is Cox. It's got so many limitations that, yeah, forget that. Did anyone
right,
remember?
I just felt
It's
trapped.
a transition out of the world of Cox. Now, if you're going to interact with Windows, Norma is being very clear that Gmail is not the way to go.
Yep.
If you're interacting in the world of Apple's, Gmail works fine, but her comment to that was that Gmail is intrusive or invasive. And so depending on how worried you are on the whole level, on the privacy level, you might want to consider that. I kind of have to say my point of view, although that's completely true. Google owns the world, and Facebook and all these things that we think are so invasive. On the other hand, you go to the store and you use your credit card to buy something, and I don't know, I always tell the example. I went to a store I never went to in my life, and I used my credit card to buy raspberries. Guess what I got in my junk mail 2 weeks later? A coupon for raspberries from that store, which I'd never even gone to. I think it was a version of store that we don't have in Santa Barbara, or one that's in Goleta that I don't go to. I don't remember how it happened, but I was like, wow, everything is connected. It's not just Gmail. I mean, you use your credit card to be out in the world, and they are tracking every purchase you make. They know how you live and what you do. So I decided either you are really paranoid, and I've had students who live in a cash world, and they came one time, a student came to class to learn about this, but she was a cash-based, no email. She wanted to know what was happening in the world, but she did just not interact with it, right? So you either go to that extreme and then no one can trace you, or you just go, well, I can be careful who, definitely not give out hand passwords, try to keep them safe and stuff like that. But I'm not sure that you can really do anything proactively to stop the world from knowing how you move around in the world if you interact in any way. And yes, Norma, one more thing.
TikTok deals with that one. TikTok deals with who's spying on you.
Yeah. So
and how to guard yourself better.
Yeah, and let me just give you the cynical me, Diana, version to that. How do you guard yourself better until they figure another way, and you never knew it was coming that way, and there they get you the other way until you figure that one out. So it's like, it's constant. It's not like you can protect. It's not like real life. You create a wall with a bell and no one can come through without the bell. No, they'll figure out another way, right? And the wall is gone. So yeah.
Now, privacy is really gone, and the only weapon is being super boring.
No, the thing is, if you truly want something not to be ever seen by anyone else, just don't put it anywhere online. Just don't, period. Because however much you protect things, that's just, don't put it in a digital format in any which way or form. And then you hope that no one goes into your house and looks under the mattress, right? So, in the end, things can happen. I always see it as, unless you're someone really special or a celebrity or I don't know, extremely rich or something very specific like that, it'll be bad luck if they target you. But they won't look at you because you're that important, but because they're targeting, Target or Apple or your bank, and you fall into all of those. But for them to really go looking after little old Diana Musacchio, I'm just gonna fall like I fall because my account on something got caught. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's maybe my fatalistic point of view. But I've changed my mind. Over the years, I say different things. That's where I'm at right now. Okay. To know much more about this in depth, take Norma's Tech Talk class. All right. Let's continue. I'm going to share my screen again. And here we go. I see a couple of other questions that came in that I haven't addressed directly, but just really quickly, yes, we're going to deal with having many emails. I just spoke about that, but sometimes you do need them, sometimes you don't. And Barbara says she has 8. you'll find out now whether you can begin targeting how to use each one and when. And if you don't want it, yes, you can get rid of it. But you don't get rid of them or add them here as in creation. And this is important. These emails that you put in here, you don't create an email here. You're not make a new Outlook email. You don't make a new Apple or Google email. You have to contact the Google company online and create a new Gmail, or Outlook and create a new Exchange and create a new Outlook email. You know what I mean? This is where you put existing emails that you already have. This is a funnel. This is a place where you go, okay, I got a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of that, a bit of that, and I want to see them all in one place and at once and handle them all at once. That's what this app is. This is not a place where you make a new email address with any company at all. So we already have a pipeline account because you registered to be a student at City College, and that's how you got one. As much as you have a Cox account because you paid for Cox, you don't even think about it, right? You made an Apple ID, boom, now you have, if you want to, an Apple email you can use. Some of them use them or not. You can begin to activate it and say, I want my iCloud.com to become my subscription email or my second support email that I give. Anyway, so at the top of this, in your computers where you have your accounts set up, don't you all see one that says the iCloud? Don't you see an iCloud account up there? Yeah. Now, I don't have it set up right now. I purposely took it off because since my iCloud account memorized my other accounts, they all appeared here already. And I was trying to show you how to put one in by one. And that's why I had to take my ID. But most of you already have. Your top thing is your iCloud account. If you choose to use that email or not is up to you, right? But it's set up there. And that account is the one that gets automatically set up in your backup, memorized, and that you can see online when you go to iCloud.com. Remember when I showed you iCloud.com last week that we went into our accounts? That's the only email up in iCloud.com that gets saved, whatever is your iCloud account. Okay, so that one that you're seeing there, that's your iCloud account. If you use it to give it to people as your email, that's the one that does get backed up in your iCloud. All right. Other than that, the iCloud does not keep track of all the emails you get from your Gmails and Outlooks and Exchanges and Cox. The iCloud does not back those up. To get anything from your Outlook email, that because your computer died and you don't see your emails anymore, you would have to go to outlook.com, enter the password and see it there, or pipeline.svc.edu and see it there. Okay, if anything gets backed up through the cloud, it'll only be your iCloud email. Okay, now let me show you how to add another one. So if every email you have is already here, then fine, leave them in there. But if not, then let's add a new one. And this is where, how do you add a new one? Let's go back down to the minus or plus and hit the plus sign, and you get back to this mode. So say you have a Yahoo or an AOL or Exchange would be Outlook or Live or which was the other one you said, MSN, those would be those, or an iCloud email. I have another Google email that I use for teaching. So it's an email that I created. You know, I had various. I have another Google one. But I have a Yahoo as my junk email, for example, right? So, and it used to be my good email eons ago, and I'm talking 25 years ago, or no, 20 years ago. And then it began to get so full of spam and junk that I had to transition to a new one. At first, we didn't know how to protect our emails, and you know, I'd give my email out to everyone, and then all this junk started to coming in. So then I figured I'm never going to give that email again to anyone that I don't want to. I still get my junk in that one. I've owned that email address for, yeah, like at least 20 years before my kids were born. So even before that, my kid's 17. So yeah, at least 20 years. But I only give my good email to people I do want to hear from, and definitely not companies that are going to put a bunch of junk into them. So Chris is making a question. You mean adding an existing email account, not a new one? Yes. Here you do not create a Yahoo account. Here you put one that you already own. Here you do not put an Outlook or an MSN or a Hotmail. You put one that you already own, okay? So if you already own one of these, then that's a good point. Dot has a question that I want to explain. So we'll talk about that in a minute, Dot. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add a new one just to show you how more than one email works. So I'm going to go click on Google. So, and I'm going to add a different email that's also a Gmail account. So if you have another one you want to add, follow this process with one of these. Now, what if what you want to add is Cox, because it's still your email, or Earthlink, or your work email, something like that. So then you click on add another account. And then you get a couple of other choices of the type of emails that you can do. And for most of those, just any other email that you have, just go to this thing called mail account. So you click on mail account, and then you write your Cox email address or your work email address, you know, ucsb.edu, or maybe you work for Deckers, or, you know, whatever your other university you teach for is, or that's where you would write it in. So you would have to go to, if it's not one of these, then go to mail account and add your other email address that you're going to use now for this email. And I kind of recommend putting all your accounts in here, okay? So I happen, actually I'm going to put in one that's a Google account, so I'm going to use Google, but go ahead and use mail, whichever way you need to do it for yours. So here I'm going to put, I have SBCC teacher at gmail.com. That's an email that I created and no one had ever made it. So that's my sbteacher@gmail.com. I've had it for years, and I use it for all when I teach all my social media ones. I'll put in my password, and this is the only thing. You need to know your passwords. And there you go. Now, let me just talk you through this for a second. For this account, I can choose to see all of this again or nothing. And so in this case, just to do something different, I'm going to see only emails from this one. So I'm turning the rest off. And I'm going to say done. Now, see how this one just called Google? The pipeline one in particular left the pipeline name because that's how, you know, this is SBCC teacher, this is Google. But if I look over here, you guys had changed your name to pipeline and I had not. So over here, it says just Google or Google. And it's kind of confusing because when you want to go back in here and look at it, what's Google? I don't remember. You have to go over here to see its pipeline. So that's why I said click on that and write the name and the description. And then over here, oh, but it didn't. There you go. It's under the name instead of the pipeline. I think it depends on the older accounts. And over here, I'm going to leave, I'm just going to write SBCC teacher because I know that's that account. So now it's showing up at SBCC teacher, which is a kind of a fake account for me. Okay, so now I have my pipeline and my SBCC teacher. In SBCC teacher, I'm only showing mail. In pipeline, I'm showing mail and contacts. Okay, so you make a choice what things you want to connect. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my Apple, well, I'm going to add my Apple ID because now I do want to show you all the other things that gets connected. So I'm going to now set up my Apple ID, which you already have on your accounts, but I didn't on mine because I wanted to show you a clean thing. But I needed to take this off in order to show it. Hold on, I put in the wrong email because I'm talking. So has everyone added another email account? I'll show you how this funnel thing works in a second. You don't need a primary or secondary or anything like that. hold on. I'm just having to answer this. So any account you have, there's no primary or secondary, you might want to call it as a description, you might want to call it primary, secondary, right? If that helps you distinguish it, if the name of it doesn't distinguish it for you. So you might want to call it that. Like I called mine pipeline or teacher, you might want to label yours primary, secondary, if that helps you distinguish, or call it subscriptions or junk, right? So if I were to now add my my Google, my Yahoo, right? If I were to put in my Yahoo email here, I would call it my junk email because I know that's my junk email, right? Okay, so now that I've connected my cloud again, like you, I now have my iCloud. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because for your iCloud email, you have many more choices than just mail, contacts, and notes. You have many other choices. And all of these things turned on are what would, I don't know why this one's turned off. This is the stuff that will be synced down here and fill in with my iCloud information, okay? So if I open my mail account, I will see any mail that I received to that email address. If I open my contacts, I will see any contacts that I see in that email address. On the other hand, if I don't want to, all I need to do is say, Mom, no, I don't really want to see email, so I'll turn it off right now. So be very careful. Please do not touch photos in iCloud, because those are the ones that I said have all these other implications as to what goes up to the cloud or not. But I want to show you how I can choose to have or not have mail or contacts. And it's just a matter of turning it on or off, okay? We'll talk more about the iCloud. But now I have 3 accounts. I'll have my personal, I'll have my pipeline, and I'll have my SBC teacher. Now, I had already set up other emails that I own here, right? And so these are inactive. And look what inactive means. It means that I've turned all the checks off. So say that I decide I don't want to see anything from SBCC teacher and I turn this last check off, then it becomes inactive. This is what I meant about you can have your junk mail installed in here, but you don't want to check it all the time. So you just disconnect it. And then you go, okay, once a month I'll check my junk mail. You just turn this on again. And now when you go to mail, you'll be able to read your junk mail. You go, nothing new, nothing important. I don't want to see it anymore. Just turn it off again. But you don't have to set it up anymore. See what I mean? So you can have all your accounts here that you don't use. So who was it, Barbara, who said I have 8 accounts? Well, if there truly are accounts you'll never want to use again, just select it and delete it. Like, for example, I didn't use the Game Center ever at all. I don't need that whatsoever in my life. So I don't want this. So I'm going to select the Game Center and go click minus. So this isn't about making active or inactive. This is actually getting rid of it. Hit that. Are you sure you want to delete that account? For the Game Center, yeah. So I got rid of it. So I don't need to have anything here I truly don't ever want again. But
so should everything be checked under iCloud then?
Yeah. Well, I recommend everything be checked. Careful with the photos. The photos is the one, if you check it, all your photos go online. So these 2 you should be careful with, because that's the one that sends your iCloud documents and desktop online, and this one sends your photos online. So
But
these
if they're all
things, the one that say options, but all the rest, yeah, I would have them all on. This is the keychain where if in this computer I put in a password, my phone will remember that password and my iPad will remember that password, right? So that's an example. If this is off, then any password I type in here does not get remembered, and I have to type it in again in the phone, and I have to take it, type it again in an iPad. Does that make sense?
Deanna?
Yes.
It's me, Carol. My Kadula Hotmail account is in the Game Center.
Yeah,
Why
and
would it be
in the Game Center had my Mac account name, but it's okay. It's the Game Center. If you don't use games, you're not deleting your account. You would never get rid of an account by deleting or adding anything in here. You're just not seeing it through the Apple account. That's it. You want to see
Okay.
your email, you still go see it through your email. This is nothing to do with deleting an account. It's just not using it. So if you don't want to use the Game Center because you don't use it, just
don't.
hit and delete it, and it will not get rid of your email at all.
Okay, thank you. My photos is not checked either. This is Carol again.
Yeah, the
There's no
photos,
check mark.
the photos in the iCloud Drive, for now, don't change whatever setting you have. Okay, on those two, please do not change it because big
Okay.
things happen. And when I have a bit more time, I'll explain that more to you. But in the photos class, I explained it in depth, and in the iCloud, I explained it during level 1. We'll talk more about it. But right now, leave these two, the ones that say options, leave these settings whichever way you have them. That is not something I want us to change right now. All the rest are less consequential. All the rest, only thing that happens is that you either send this information in your calendar up to the cloud and up to your phones, or you don't. So those of you who go, well, I don't use my calendar. And for example, Justine just shared her screen and she didn't even have her calendar here. And so I would assume that that means that she probably doesn't use her Apple Calendar. Then if you turn it off, makes no difference because you're not using now. For this class, and because I'm going to teach you how to use it, I would recommend that you keep it on. But if you kept it on in Pipeline, we can learn how to use it using Pipeline. So we turned it off right now, but see how easy it'll be to say, well, I actually for Pipeline want to use the calendar. So then just turn it on and boom, now we're seeing Pipeline mail, contacts, and calendars. I don't want to see it. Turn it off. That's how simple it is. Now, I haven't shown you the apps yet. We've just been talking about how to set up the accounts. So the class is going to be over in half an hour. So I want to show you the actual effect doing this here has had on our computer apps. Okay. So just to keep my privacy a little bit, I'm going to turn the mail off of my personal one. You know, and contacts and calendars from now, I'm going to turn these off because I want to be able to show you these things without necessarily showing you all my personal stuff. But I will show them to you in a different account, okay? I don't actually use these. Those of you who wonder what these things are, home, if you have a kind of home that's kind of wired in with a lot of digital products, like you can use your phone to turn your lights on and off. Some of you bought, you can buy them now. The next thing you know is you can buy an oven, a heater, a light that says you can operate with your phone, with your app. This is what it means. You can set up whatever account you have with that company, and then you can, with your phone, have your lights turn on and off when you're traveling or things like that, right? But I don't use any of those. I don't check my stocks, so I don't care if these are on or off. Find My Mac, you should have on all your products, because if you lose it or it gets, well, my desktop won't get lost, but your phone or your iPads can get lost or your laptop can get lost. Then this helps you pinpoint where it is in the planet, in the map and stuff like that. Keychain is your passwords. Siri is that helper that if you talk, it does things for you now. So make sure, let's go back to Pipeline and to any other account that you set up. You won't be sharing your screens with me, so it won't be so invasive of your privacy, but you're welcome to set something up. So I'm going to set my SBCC teacher on, where I will show you my emails and my contacts and stuff like that, so that you can see the difference of having different things on. And then in Pipeline, go and turn on your calendars as well, and your notes, because I don't want to invade anyone's privacy. So you're welcome to do it in your iCloud, but for class, for when I want you to share your screen, I want us to play around with the one in Pipeline, okay? That way it's your school stuff, and your school stuff is stuff that isn't necessarily private. It's just a school email, okay? So go to Pipeline again, whichever one it is that you put in here. Turn on Google, turn on your Pipeline mail, contacts, calendars, and notes. You know how first I said just leave these two on? I just wanted to show you how you can say, well, no, I want more. You just turn more on and off. So now, I don't care what you do with your rest, but I want for sure for now to have all of your check marks on your pipeline account. And if you have another one that you can turn things on to, then you'll see how to handle more than one email account or contacts account or other stuff. So I'm going to turn this on another one. So you're welcome to ideally turn these options on. Usually just mail and contacts tend to be the traditional ones. And the calendar would be like the primary one. All right. So as long as everyone has at least 2 accounts that have mail on, right? And I have these 2, Pipeline and SBCC Teacher, and contacts on. Now we're going to go and see how that looks and works in your actual apps. So any questions before I start showing some apps? We only have a few more minutes, so let me see if there's any question that you wrote that really does speak to that. Kath asked me about the backup drive-in photos. Asked me after class. Internet accounts. Emails. You have a lot of emails where you were faculty and you have a ton of emails. Okay, I'll teach you how to deal with that. How you can set up an auto reply. Oh, you're an awesome teacher. Thank you. Reverse of wanting to change by email. When I send an email, even by chance it receives for something you can put in their old email. Okay, so yeah, that's something that has to do with email program. We'll deal with that. iCloud Drive, chasing funnel, enlarge sharing screen. My photos is off and won't allow me to turn it on. Don't turn the photos on right now. That is not, I think I'd answer that. That is not the question. My emails on the computer do not show up on my phone. Okay, that's a good one to answer. Pat saying my emails on the computer do not show up on my phone. All right. It's possible that on your phone, you didn't set up that account and turn on. So thank you for asking that, because I was going to go into the app to show you that, but this is important. This is an important point. So thank you for that. But if you turn on your settings, okay. Oh, do you want to share yours? You said you have yours ready, Norma?
Did you already make me co-host?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Give me a sec, you guys. I'm gonna. Norma can. Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to drink. Am I? Yeah.
Yeah, you should. It's in the ... next to my. It's N. Egley. It's the.
Okay.
I'm down below in the list of participants. But
Okay.
usually, if you put your mouse pointer to the
Right,
side.
right. Find you, N. Egley. There you go. Make co-host. And there you go. Okay, so she's going to share her phone because it's easier than me showing it just in the middle. And I can set my net, but since, anyway, my Zoom is the laptop, then all of its ports are used up. And so it's hard for me to add another screen. Okay, so here's her phone, right? So thank you. Now, can you go to your settings, please? So in your settings,
you want accounts?
Your iPhone settings, go up a little bit further to the top so people know where I am. When you first open your settings, see how at the top it has your name, right? Now, if you go in order to find your accounts, if you go to I believe it's in your iCloud.
It's password and accounts.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So you have to go to the.
Which account are you talking about? Because depending what version of iOS they're on will determine where they find it.
Yeah, for the most part, it's on the first screen. So go back to the first screen so they can find it. Go to the first one, one back up. Yeah. So this is the one where you see your name at the top, right? So can you show that? Just the main settings. See how it says settings on top? So if you're in anything else, back off to the main one. So just in here where you're seeing settings on top, just scroll down. No. Don't go into that one. Just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. And there you go. Password and accounts. You see it right there? Wait, just show it for a second. put your, oh, you can't do a mouse on this one, can you? No, you can't. So, do
No,
you
I
see-
can't
Yeah, you can't. So see how
bring
she
it
scroll
out.
down, 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 and then when you scroll down enough, you see passwords and accounts. Did everyone find their passwords and accounts? It's like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 scrolls down. Did you all find them, you guys? Okay. Once you see password and accounts, click on passwords and accounts. And see at the bottom how she has every single account she owns: Cloud, Live, Hotmail, Outlook, Gmail, Negly, Yahoo, Negly, Cox, Gen. Those are all accounts that she has, just like I just showed you in the iCloud, in the system preferences. You should put in every one of the accounts that you put in on your computer should be also in here, right? And so how you add them, you go to the very bottom of it and see how it says add account? And there you go. Recognize that screen? Isn't that the same one we just went through? So then you can say Google, continue, and put in your pipeline account in there. Say username at pipeline.sbcc.edu.
Whoops.
Okay?
Let
So
me
go
go
ahead and
back.
everyone do that. It's exactly what we did on the computer, but now we're doing it on the phone. Pipeline, username at pipeline.sbcc.edu.
Diana, I didn't get beyond system preferences and what did you do then? Sorry.
Okay, but just go to the regular settings, okay? And then scroll down, just to the main settings, and scroll down, down, down until you see passwords and accounts. And if you look and see what's in front of, behind it, that'll kind of help you. Like you have to pass
Oh.
general, so go down and then go down again, general, and go down, and iTunes, and there you go, password and accounts. Do you find it? Did you find it yet? No, not really.
No.
Elizabeth?
So I've got
Depends on which iOS they're at.
I've always found it in there. If you have a very old iOS, it might be very different.
no, it's up to date. It's Catalina 15.
Okay. No. Phone. We're using the phone right now.
Oh, the phone. That's the biggest problem.
Yeah. As soon as you said Catalina, I'm like, oh, okay. This is on your phone. / iPad. Those of you who have an iPad,
No.
the same thing on your iPad. If you check your emails and stuff on the iPad, if you just use it for watching movies, forget it. But for anything else, you have to go to the settings and do it in your iPad. So then scroll
Thank you.
down, add account, put in your email, put in your password for Pipeline. So can you do that one, please?
I'm trying. It wants me to use my
Yeah.
I can I don't want that one. I want my other one. I was gonna
You can get, you know how easy it is to get rid of it. So.
Yeah, well what happens is it wants to fill one in for me.
Yeah. Okay, so did you all manage to put in your email in there? Now say next, and then it'll take you to the UCSB login where you put only username and password. She's working through it.
I'm in the same place Norma is, Diana. It
Yeah.
wants me to
What
use
you
my
have
AOL.
to, if it's suggesting one, you have a little keyboard in the lower left-hand corner if you don't want to use a suggested one.
It's it's a suggested. Don't put in the email and the password for just. You have to type in your own.
So here I typed here if it's suggesting one, there's a little keyboard symbol in the lower left-hand corner that you can click on to type in a different account.
So now you get to type in the username and password for your Pipeline. And if you already have it, because you already did this, consider putting in another one of your email accounts, because it says, as before, in the end, what you want is to have all your accounts there. And then you choose to see them or not. But you need to have your accounts there, because you know how Pat said, I have emails on my computer that I don't have on my account. That is exactly what's happening. You probably have an account on your computer that isn't set up on your phone. And then if your phone doesn't know that account, it wouldn't show it to you. Does that make sense, you guys? You
It
need
does.
to have your computer and your phones know those accounts. These are not Apple things. These are not iPhone things or Mac things. These are accounts you own that you use for email from other companies, including.
Deanna,
Yes.
do we,
So
I've got,
see how now, after she said yes and yes, see how now under her accounts, now she has a new one. Go back for 1 second. 1 second, Norma, go one back again. Thank you. See how now amongst all the list of emails, now she has Norma Egley at pipeline.sbcc.edu. I want to leave it there so you guys remember that it's pipeline.sbcc.edu. And she has everything turned on. See how underneath the name it says mail, contacts, calendar, and notes? Go ahead and click on that now, Norma, please. And there you go. Does this look familiar? It's the same as what we had in the computer. That's check marked, only on the phone it shows a green slider. So if the green slider is on, you're going to be using it. If the green sliders are off, you won't. So for this duration of this class, then you can decide to turn them off by just clicking them off, by turning off the green buttons if you decide you don't want them, okay? But right now, we're going to go ahead and make sure that, see, she said she turned off notes. And it's so scary because it says, are you sure the remotes were removed for your phone, delete from my phone? Only for this account, okay? So all it's telling you is, well, you won't see your notes on the phone if you turn this little thing off, but it's not like it's going to delete your notes. It's not delete your email. It's just you won't see them on this phone. Like Pat says, I don't see them on my phone. Well, if you turn it off, you won't see them on your phone. That's the only result of having a check mark off or a slider off. That they don't show, but not that they're gone. I just want to be clear because some people think, oh, I'm turning off, I'm losing all my emails. If you don't see them, it's because you don't see them because you turn off the slider, but you didn't ever lose any emails. All you need to do, turn on the slider again, and there they are. Is that concept clear? Any other questions about that?
Yeah, Diana, this
yeah.
is Kath. So I like seeing my notes on my phone.
Yeah.
But are these the notes that I have tied to Pipeline, or are they all my notes?
No, I'm going to show you now, and we're running out of time, but on Wednesday, we're going to go in to show you how you distinguish between your notes from one or the other account. And I personally, for example, decide to use only notes on one account instead of others. But emails, I have others. So once I show you how to use all this, then you can choose which notes, because when you go to your notes, and I don't know do you use notes, Norma? Can you show notes? So she goes to notes, and if you go backwards on folders, go back to, you can choose notes from any of your accounts. So she has iCloud Notes 40, Gmail Notes 26, Live Notes, she doesn't use it for live, Yahoo Notes 4, Pipeline Notes, she just turned it on, and she has none. So, or then she has 10 on her phone. So these are different places she puts her notes. To minimize or simplify, I, for example, use only notes on one account. So all my notes are in the same place. But you can choose to see them all at a time or to see only one. So if you want to just see the notes that are under iCloud, you would click on the word notes there, and you would only see the notes from iCloud, and so on and so forth. And if you back off, then you would go to Gmail Notes, and then you would see Gmail Notes, right? So in order to not have to do back and forth for this, I prefer just for my notes to keep, because my notes are like, instead of little loose papers all over the place, now I use notes like crazy. I have thousands of notes. Norma, you are very measured in your use of notes. I have tons of notes because I was the kind of person who needed to leave myself notes all the time, right? And so there you go. Now I use the Notes app for that. So anyway, that's an example of how in each of these apps you can choose emails from different accounts or read only one at a time. So we're going to go much more in depth with this on Wednesday, okay? But for now, for class, I do want you to have the Pipeline, Google Calendar, Mail, and Notes, because to practice, it's the neutral one that we all have and that doesn't show any personal stuff. So I want those all turned on. Later, after class is over on, 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now, 2 weeks from now, you can decide to turn them off. John, you've been trying to ask a question?
Yeah, I have been trying to put my Pipeline email into my phone. And you got me a long way down the road, but it says incoming mail server and outgoing mail server. What should I?
Then you probably didn't click on Google. to set it up. Can you back up a little bit, Norma, and show what I mean? Because it shouldn't be asking you any of that. Go back to the settings, Gmail password accounts. Go back to settings and let's
I
find
see.
again.
So start with Google, huh? Or my Mac account. Is that the same thing, or should I just?
Yeah,
Google?
and so here you need to click on the word Google to add your pipeline. Because if you put other, then it might ask you incoming, outgoing. But if you go Google, it knows that pipeline is a Google. Because it doesn't say Gmail, it confuses the computer.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
On Google. Okay. All right. Do I need the phone for anything else? Can you, no, we don't need the phone anymore. So thank you so much, Norma. I'll see if I can add
Can I just make one comment, Deanna?
Yeah. Yes.
On the phone, instead of, you have Microsoft Exchange and you have Outlook.com, and Outlook.com can also use Live.com and Hotmail.com.
Okay.
They can go through that one.
There's a bit different. On the computer, we were only being offered the Exchange, but on the phone, it says Exchange, Google, Yahoo, AOL, Outlook. Okay. So both are Microsoft accounts, but depending on which one you have, you would click on one or the other. It's a little bit different. But there you go. By the time you're done, your accounts and passwords from your phone should be equivalent to your computer and or your iPad. So if you have it on one, have it on the other. If you turn it on one, turn it on the other, and then all that information is going to flow back and forth. That doesn't mean you need to every time check your junk email. You just leave it off. And then at some point you go, oh, it's time to see if anyone wrote me to my junk email on something that matters. Not junk email, but my old Cox, for example. Well, as long as you're still paying your cable bill, you can turn it on and check and see. The moment you stop paying your cable bill, that won't be active anymore. But the rest of them should keep being active, okay?
What about saved passwords, Deanna?
What's that?
What about saved passwords? I've got it saved on my computer or my laptop, but it's not saved on my phone.
I do. I save them on my phone, but
How,
to you. What?
How do you do that?
You make sure that the keychain is on your phone as well. That's under the iCloud. So can you share again really quickly, Norma, or should I just show on my little screen? So to make changes that have to do with Apple stuff, then you need to go into the iCloud. So go to the settings again.
Yeah.
And now for keychain stuff, you need to go into the name Norma Egley, which is her Apple ID, and there down to iCloud. So go down to iCloud. And then you scroll down and maybe your keychain is, she has some things on, so she's off. You choose, and she has her keychain off. See that? So if you have your keychain off, all your passwords that your computer, your Mac is remembering won't be here. Now remember, a keychain is a Mac thing. Norma does not use her Mac as her primary computer. She's a Windows person. She's using her Mac now in this class. She's, doing it because she might have to teach some Mac stuff, yada, yada, but she does not use the keychain for Apple. She's not a primary Apple user. If you're a primary Apple user and you use your computer and you remember passwords on your computer, the keychain is remembering them, then I would recommend turning the keychain on in your phone so that your phone remembers the passwords you typed in your computer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you make choices of whether things are on or not. That's all. But you do need to have equivalent things turned on in one or the other side if you want both or three of the things to have the same things. Because this exact same thing we're doing with the phone, we're doing on your iPad. If you're trying to open your bank account and you memorize it at home, and it's your decision whether you memorize it or not, and it's safe or not, that's a whole nother question. But then on your phone or on your iPad, you can still access it. Now, I highly recommend that if you memorize passwords, you should have a lock on your computer, your phone, and your iPads that only you can open up. And some people, I'm aghast to say at class, I discover some people still do not put in a password or a fingerprint or a lock on your computers and your iPads, in which case don't ever make any password be memorized, because anyone who gets your phone can access any place that you left on memorized. So if you choose not to put a lock on your phone, you should choose to never memorize passwords and have them all in your head. But if you want your computer to memorize passwords, you should have a password to access your computers and your phones. Does that make sense? It's otherwise
Yes,
you forget it in at a restaurant. People open up your phone, boom. If you remembered your password to your bank account, there it is, right? So choose to go one way or the other, but you can't have it both ways. All right. Can you stop sharing, please, Norma?
Thank you.
Okay, and then just a really, really quick share I'm gonna do because we're almost out of time. But I want to go back to show you just for now in this account where I have pipeline, mail, and contacts, and calendar and notes, and SPCC mail and contacts turn on. And I'm not going to delve into it deeply, but I'm going to show you now that if I open, for example, my mail, and we're going to do this later. Now in here, if I click on my mailboxes, I can choose to see, but okay, and I'm going to show it to you. We're going to go into the details of it next week, but remember, I want my mail for my pipeline and my mail from my SPCC teacher accounts, both to be shown to me, right? Having those choices done, I go in here, and in my inbox, I am seeing the mails from my pipeline and the mails from my SPCC teacher account. Those two, right? Now, this is only stuff that's in my SPCC teacher. This is stuff that's in that arrived into my email, into my pipeline. If I do this, I'm seeing both at the same time. For example, this one came in at 11:43 into my pipeline account. This one into my pipeline account. This one at 11:24 came into my SPCC teacher account. This one again to pipeline, this one into SPCC teacher. See that? So I can see both at the same time as they drop in by time. So if I were seeing 5 accounts, I would be seeing my work and my personal and my whatever and my pipeline at the same, in order of arrival. And if I go, no, I just want to go check and see what's happening at school, then I click pipeline. I only get my pipeline emails. Just what's happening at work, then I see only what's at work. See what I mean? You get a choice to check everything at once or to check one at a time. And for some of you who have been going to 10 places to look for your emails, I'm exaggerating when I say 10, this is a great solution because you only get to either see them all at once or one or another. We'll get into the nitty gritty of this, but I'm going to close my email because I'm going to show you how the same thing is happening right now with my contacts. I have contacts on both, see? So I'm going to open contacts and I can choose to see all my contacts, or I can choose to see pipeline contacts or SPCC teacher contacts. Okay, now I don't really have any in there separately, but you, or your pipeline directory. So you get to choose to see all in mixed up or individual accounts. So it's awesome or it's cumbersome, depending on how you feel. If you don't know how to use it, it can feel like, why am I seeing my work emails next to my school emails and next to my, But if you know how to see them and choose, then you get the choice to, in one app, see them all or write to all, and you choose which one to write from and whom and all that kind of stuff. So on that note, one last thing, and then we're done because it's 12:01. Say that I go, well, I don't want to see all my, SPCC anymore. SPCC became my junk email. Okay, so look how easy. So pay attention. Here's my settings, right? Here's the one that I say I don't want to see anymore. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, I don't want to see these emails anymore. Well, look at that. I'm not seeing them anymore. Or, oh yeah, I decide I do want to see these emails, so I just turn it on. Then there they are. That is how simple it is. Once you have the accounts in here, it is as simple as turning these on and off. to be able to enjoy this information across your entire computer. Okay, so that's the goal, and that's what I'm going to be working with and teaching you as of Wednesday. So capture any of these kind of thoughts or questions. I know that there's more questions. If you need to leave, class is officially over. I will stay behind for a few more minutes to answer individual questions, but hopefully that's the goal of where we're going by putting our accounts in the internet accounts. And if you find any other accounts over the next 2 days that you remember that you have that are email or calendar stuff, go ahead and put them in there. And then you can learn to handle them on Wednesday. All right? So bye everyone who needs to go. Thank you, Norma, for sharing your phone. That was really helpful. If I can find a new hub to put that into my Zoom computer, I'll do that. But I have only 2 hubs.
I recommend don't plug it into your computer as you try to share. It does not work.
Before, yeah, needs to be redone. But
Yeah.
I don't have a hub open, and that's
basically what I do is I sign in by a secondary, not my pipeline email address, and then it behaves better. And I sign in via my Wi-Fi instead, not cord connected. So.
Oh, okay, that would be
Because if you do the cord connected and you're on your pipeline account, it really freaks out.
Okay. Maybe I'll just let you do the sharing, and then I'll figure it out next week because I have so much between here and Wednesday, but thanks. Norma, one more, this is just a question for Norma. Everyone else is waiting. Hold on, because I don't want Norma to leave yet. Did you turn in the DE addendums? And
I'm doing that this afternoon, right after this class. Email me when you want to set up about the curriculum.
Okay. Yes. All right.
Thanks.
Bye. Take care. We have so much like behind the scene works that we're doing right now to be able to teach in the fall, and we needed to coordinate. Okay. Okay. Any burning questions? Yes, Kath?
Well, mine is unrelated to emails, so maybe we should let the email ones come first, because mine is related to when you're going to do the end of this term, this issue about the hard drives thing, so I don't get messed up.
Yeah, and by the way, I have a meeting in about 20 minutes, so I can do some quick answers, but not like long-winded answers. I'm looking at the time.
Right.
Yes.
Why don't you let somebody who wants to ask you an email related question go first? Okay, because that's
Diana?
Yeah.
Diana, this is Paul. One quick question. Once you create an iCloud account, email account, is it forever? In other words, if I stop using Apple products and move away from Apple, will it stay?
Yeah, okay, good point. Is it like Cox? Yes and no, because you don't need to use Apple products in order to be able to use their email, because anyone can go in and sign in and create an Apple ID. The moment you create an Apple ID, you get assigned an email. So even if you never again use an Apple product, that email will still be alive as long as you have an Apple ID.
Right. Okay.
So yes, meaning it belongs to a company, yes, to Apple, but you don't need to have their products. You can read your email through the internet on the iCloud.com, which you can access from a Windows browser, So, or your phone. You can set up your Android phone to read your iCloud email. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You answered my question. Very helpful. Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, Barbara. All right, so George, George left. Okay, George, who had the keychain questions left, but that's okay. All right, Barbara, what's the question? I see you're sharing a screen. Are you asking me a question, Barbara? Because you're sharing your screen. Is this a question? I need to hear you. Are you asking? I don't hear you. I think you're trying to ask me a question, but I don't hear you.
Here. So I have this email here available to write from, it says. But I'm going to
shrink that.
I'm gonna
And,
teach this next, I'm gonna teach this next week, how you choose where to write from, okay?
Okay, because this, you would think it would say up here that iCloud email, but it does not. It shows a Cox email. I wonder why.
Okay, that's your Apple ID. It's a bit of a complicated question. Go two down, see you have pipeline, then you have one that says Barbara Larson. Click on that one.
Right, yeah, okay.
What is that one? What email is that? That's your Cox.net. See Barbara Larson 1.cox.net.
Right,
That's
she's
your Cox.
talking to me.
Okay. So when you go up to iCloud, click on iCloud again. The top one. No, that one. At that point, this here is your Apple ID. It is confusing because your Apple ID got conflated with your, remember how I said they ask you what's your email and they write it in there? So they put in your Apple ID. So up here, what you're seeing is Apple ID to your entire iCloud. It is not your email. It's the only one that's a little bit different, okay?
Okay.
So go back into your email program now.
Okay.
That's why I kept explaining at the beginning, your Apple ID and your email are unrelated. You can cancel. This is important for you to understand. You can cancel your email at Cox, but you will never be able to change your Apple ID. It will still be called Cox.net. That's just a name. It could have been, a hot dog, but they put a name when they asked you, what's your email? You give them your email and they turn it into your Apple ID. But it is unrelated. And this is so hard to teach, and I wish they'd never done that. It is unrelated to your actual email. Your Apple ID is just a name that happens to be your email. Now, in your email itself, when you go try to write, go ahead and click on that. Go ahead and click on that thing that your mouse is on. I'll teach more of this next week, but click there, yeah. It tells you can choose to write either from your pipeline. Keep it clicked. So
Right, yeah. Yeah, I've got three choices.
Yeah, but people aren't seeing that. You see that, but if you click it again, whoever else is watching can learn too. You can choose to write either from your Cox.net, which right now is your primary email, or from your iCloud.com that you didn't know you had. And if you never use it, you can just turn off the email to that account, or your pipeline.
Uh-huh.
All right? So
I've had troubles with this iCloud writing from it, so maybe I should get rid of it.
well, if you never ever use it,
Yeah.
so then to close this window, and I will teach you more how to handle this, but close this window because you can choose in the default settings what to write from. So go ahead and say don't save because this is nothing.
Oh, okay, right.
Go ahead and say don't save.
Here, I've got this,
away.
I think it's here. It's under my,
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Hit escape.
There. Sorry.
No, I know. We can't see it, but I know you have stuff in the way. So if
Yeah.
you never, ever, ever, ever use your iCloud email, it is something you never want to use. You don't want to use it as your primary, your secondary, or anything at all. Then go down to the word mail here and uncheck it.
Oh, okay. Whoop. There.
Okay. And so now go back to your email program and you'll see that it doesn't. No, you checked it again. It's on again.
On the email. Go to the
No, but
email.
you check, it's on again. It's on again. You left it on in your system preferences.
Oh, oops. Okay.
It stayed on. Okay.
Oh, I can't find it.
Your
Oh
system
dear. Now
Okay. In your system preferences, you turn it off and you turn it on again. So it's still there.
I'll go back
Now, by
there.
the way, you do have emails there. So wait, careful. I wouldn't necessarily get rid of it. Look, go click.
No, these are all coming to Barbara.
No. Okay. Go down, 3 down, the one that says 35.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. They're older.
You right to that one.
Yeah.
They're from like April, July 2020. They're not older.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I
so
don't think there are any current ones.
look at the dates. They say 7/6/2020.
I've got to move these guys. Oh, you're right. Oh my goodness, yes. Okay.
So I wouldn't get rid of your iCloud account. Someone's using it. You're using it somehow. So
Okay.
be careful. We can deal with more of this next week. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Next Wednesday. But
Sorry, everybody, for all the time.
no, that's all right. I'm sure that anyone who was watching learned something from that too. So,
Okay.
all right, I have time to answer one more question. And I was gonna answer George and his keychain, but he's gone. So, any other questions other than Kath's? All right, Kath, go ahead.
Well, I can tell that I need to clean up my computer. It's, you know, things are getting a little bit busy. And obviously, a big part of it is my photos. So the question is, two questions. Do I just hit that button where I can maximize the use of my Mac? And also, what do I do? Maybe, how do I like move my photos maybe off to another hard drive? Now, what I'm afraid of is normally before I do anything major, I will back my computer up, but my hard drive that I use for backup is back in California and I'm here in Michigan.
Okay.
So I'm reluctant to do something.
Yeah, so I would be reluctant too. First of all, you didn't take the Mac Level 1 class, but that's where we dealt with all of this stuff. And I'm just saying that in the fall session, I'm teaching it again. So I would recommend that if you really want to know how to handle all that kind of stuff in depth, because I can only answer a quick answer right now, then that we do through the whole process of how to analyze your stuff, how to move stuff and do that. But in next week, when we start backing up stuff, the last day, if your backup right now is in here, you said in Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara.
Then they're not that expensive if you want to just for the security set up another one, because anything you're doing on your computer now up until you return to Santa Barbara isn't being backed up.
Right.
So if I were you, I would get another, $60 hard drive and create a backup right there, because who knows when you're returning to Santa Barbara, and that way you protect your stuff now, even if later you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But I thought you told me it was hard to have two backups.
But you're in two different locations. So if you leave that one there, right, make it there, you'll only really have one. And then when you return to Santa Barbara, you can decide which one becomes your real one and you get rid of one, because when you get to Santa Barbara, you do a new backup here, it becomes current again. And then your one that you're using in Michigan, you can use to store your photos, and you get rid of it as a time machine and use it to do this offloading of photos that you're talking about, for example, right?
Okay.
You're going to need another hard drive anyway to do that. So, but right now, if you're sitting there and you don't have anything backed up, then whatever is happening until you get back to Santa Barbara, or since you've been there, isn't being backed up. So I would recommend doing that. And once you do that, then we can move things around. So next week when you talk about backups, I can again tell you a bit more about where to put stuff.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
You're
great.
welcome.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, I'm gonna close up the class. See you guys on Wednesday.